What's the over-under? Should I tease? Who is the lock of the night? Make sure you're watching Woodward Bets to get the latest in sports betting and more. Woodward Bets daily on Woodward Sports.
And here we are. We're finally here. The big game is happening. The Orange Bowl. Michigan versus Georgia. We got the mini helmets on the desk. We got Adam here. We have Braylon Edwards, the greatest wide receiver in the history of Michigan football.
It's too kind.
And then there's me. I'm Stick. Nice to meet y'all.
Don't sell yourself short.
Hey, man, I did not do what you did at Michigan. I do not have that prolific profile behind me. But, dude, tonight's game's got to mean a lot to you because I know you've caught some flack in the past about being honest about where the program was. And the good news is now that the program's where it should be, you get to be honest in the right way, right?
Well, it definitely means a lot. You know, I was one of the first individuals to come out and call Jim Harbaugh on the play that they had. They brought him in to do a job, and my partner over here to my left, he's very honest and very vocal about they brought Jim Harbaugh in here to do a job. He hadn't done that job, and he called him on his you-know-what all year. And now here we're sitting here, you know, about a couple hours away from kickoff, man, in the Orange Bowl against Georgia. They did everything they needed to do. But the thing in which he did is I think he really went back and started to listen to some of the critics, some of the pundits, some of the analysts like myself, like Adam, like even yourself. You stayed on the bandwagon.
I did.
But you still felt a certain way. You still felt like we were saying.
He wasn't having my back like I had his back. That 100%. Was the problem. Yeah.
This year, going back to January, going back to February, he started with the recruiting. He started with going to get the younger coaches, getting rid of the older coaches, guys that were making 1.4, that you're running. Where's this 1.4 going to Pep Hamilton? What are you paying Pep Hamilton? You know, you go to his offensive coordinator, Don Brown. Same defense, same thing, chance after chance. We know you're going to run all-out blitz. We know you're going to play man-to-man. And when those DBs like Jordan Lewis went away, when those DBs like David Long were no longer there, you got to change it, and they didn't. So you got to give him credit for changing the program up this year. And you got to give him credit for, hey, you know what, betting on himself. He took that pay cut. He said, as opposed to just saying, you know what, I'm done with Michigan football. It was a good ride. It didn't happen. He said, you know what? I'll take the 4.3 and I'm a bet on myself. So all the credit that he's getting, that. Yeah, I do too. All the credit that he's getting this year, he deserves because all of the negativity he got, he deserved a lot of that too. Not all of it, but most of it.
Look, I think what's probably the most insightful thing you can say about Michigan this year is they came in unranked.
Yeah.
Zero expectations. Nobody was talking up a big game. If Harbaugh won 8 games, do you keep him? If you won 9, you probably keep. There were no expectations of this team's a Big Ten title team.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And before the season, I got frustrated. So frustrated that I compared him to Dabo Swinney. His first 6 years, compared him to Dabo's. They're the same coach. Yeah. The guy has got you to the final game of the season 4 times with an opportunity to play in the Big Ten title game. He hasn't delivered, which is why he's getting the flack. But let's not forget, he's doing a good job. He's a very good football coach.
Yeah.
And this year, it all came together.
The only thing about Dabo, because that's a great comparison, because I was looking at along the same lines of a Dabo, same like you look at Mike Gundy. Mm-hmm. You look at Mike Gundy, what he's done down there. Mike Gundy has a lot of 10-win seasons, but he can't win the big deal. The only difference I would say with Dabo as well as Jim Harbaugh is ACC has been average for a long time. They were really good a couple years, but they've been average. Man, that Big Ten East, arguably the best division in college football. That's a tough division. He got in right when they heated up too.
Urban Meyer, 12-0.
Man, James Franklin, he snuck in there. You know, Michigan State, towards the middle to end of Mike D'Antonio. So, what I will say is, they deserve everything they're getting this year because they got it in the past from us, and you know what? They deserve it now.
Yeah, that's the thing. Just as hard as you're going to be on them when they're down, you got to be as hype when they're up because they've earned this. They've gotten there, and you know what? You can look back to that Michigan State game as kind of being a turning point in their season, and to me, that's what really sparked them because afterwards they're like, everybody's going to pay the price for what Michigan State did to us. So sometimes a loss can be a good thing middle of the season, not late in the season, but middle of the season to turn your whole program around. They played like a different team since then.
Walking out of that Michigan State game, I actually was one of the individuals. I told my father, who's on the show, shout out to Big Pops, whose house I'm running to after this hour is over. What up, Dad? I walked out of the Michigan State game actually feeling better than I did walking into it. Walking into that game, there were a lot of questions. And the questions were, could they be the big opponent? Could they go toe-to-toe with Michigan State, who I thought at the time was better? I actually went on this show and I said, Michigan State is a better football team right now. Top to bottom, a better football team. Well, you take away a play that in most games won't get overcalled, and you take away an injury that led to JJ coming in and fumbling. You take those 2 plays out, Michigan's undefeated. But the thing that got me was that 385 back K, and I saw some stuff out of Josh Gaddis. I saw him start to go to that well that we've been promised. I started to see him going into that bag, that goodie bag, and pull out some candy. I said, whoa. Who's Andrell Anthony wearing that number? Looking so good. You see, J.J. McCarthy made some dimes in that play. He made some plays in that game. So you just, K. McNamara, who knew he could throw for 385? He hasn't done it since, but he hasn't needed to. He hasn't needed to since. So with that being said, I walked out of that game, I said, not to mention Aidan Hutchinson and the job, I said, Michigan is going to be all right.
Losing makes you look yourself in the mirror.
Right.
And when Michigan lost to Michigan State, it was so vital to what has happened since. Yes, Cade threw for 385, but in the fourth quarter, couldn't complete a pass.
Yeah, true.
Overthrew a wide receiver in the end zone on 3rd and 8.
This is very true.
You know, I'm not going to knock him. The kid was phenomenal all year. He was poised. But you know that if you're going to get into a shootout, it probably isn't going to end right.
Yeah.
Get back to the offense. Run heavy package. And against Penn State, look, it was a back and forth game. Eric Hall, hell of a play. But look, Cade has made the right decisions most of the time all season. 15 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
4 interceptions, what you got to point to, because you know, like one of the knocks on him was he was a game manager, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong. Like people say that like it's a bad thing. No, that means you're responsible. That you're not putting your team in positions to where they're gonna fail because of you. Quarterback, a lot of times you want the guy. He doesn't have to win you the game. He just doesn't have to lose you the game.
There are some game managers that are in the Hall of Fame. I think there's a misconception about what game manager means. I'll give you an example. Troy Aikman is a game manager.
Fair.
Troy Aikman is not a quarterback that you put him on a bad team, he's going to go out and throw for 500 yards. He's not passing for 4,500. He's a game manager. He understands that Emmitt Smith's the guy. He understands he had Alvin Harper. Right. He had Michael Irvin. He had Jay Novacek. He understands he has a system. And oh, by the way, he has arguably the best offensive line ever created. He's a game manager. There's nothing wrong with the term game manager. So I think we have to get away from, not us necessarily, but people have to get away from game managing being a bad thing.
No, to me it's a great thing. It's somebody who keeps somebody who keeps you on tempo, keeps you on down and distance, somebody that's not going to take the stupid sack, throw the ball away. Like sometimes the best play is no play. And so those types of players I don't really mind, especially at this level, because so many young guys can ruin a game for you just because they get in their head, they act too fast. No, I want a guy that's calm. Let's get into kind of the bowl records for Michigan, because I was looking at this. You know, they're 1-1 in the Orange Bowl all time. They're 8-12 in the Rose Bowl, and I was shocked to learn that Michigan has a losing record all time in bowl games. Yeah, like when I grew up, Michigan was just rolling people every time there was a bowl game.
It makes sense to me. I knew I was there. I think we won one. They only won one bowl game when I was there. We won one bowl game when I was there, and you look at the Rose Bowl. Bo lost a lot of bowl games. Yeah, like Bo Schembechler, he lost a lot of bowl games. Look at Harbaugh. He's only won one. Harbaugh's won one bowl game. You know, Brady Hoke won one bowl. So like when you start to go backwards, you're like, holy, you know, right? It's like
it starts to add up.
You start to see it, and it's not a good thing. And hopefully you can turn the tide, because it's 21-5. So you're right there to get it to 25-5, and then roll from there in the next 10 years.
Why do you think Michigan has struggled in bowl games historically?
Man, that's tough. That's like a loaded question.
That's all I ask, baby.
I like it. I think with us, I think our bowl prep, we over-prepared. I know that's something we're going to talk about in the next segment, so I'll save that. But I think over-preparation. I think a lot of times guys, like coaches that get it, like, you know, now it's a playoff system, it's more games. But the coaches that got it back then, like, hey, you know what? We can let these guys relax. They've had a long year. You know, they started with winter conditioning, and then they had spring ball, and then you have summer conditioning, you have training camp. By the time you've played the season, Christmas, Thanksgiving's over, your last game. Like guys, like coaches that get it, they're like, hey man, we'll ease into some stuff, man. No hitting, no hitting. You guys know how to hit. You've been hitting all year, and I think sometimes with us, we banged. As soon as we were starting practice, Lloyd would have us banging and banging and banging and banging, clanging and banging, clanging and banging. By the time you get to wherever your bowl game is, for us it was either Florida or California. Like you're beat down. Like you're just tired. Your body is done by the time the game starts. I remember a specific time when we played Tennessee. Tennessee was chilling. Like, they were, to me, the best team in the country that year. They lost to LSU in the Sugar Bowl. To the SEC Championship. But they were relaxed. They weren't going as hard as we were. They weren't wearing any pads. They were out lollygagging, and we could just see them enjoying and relaxing. And we got in that game, they looked fresh. They felt fresh. 45-17 lets you know they were fresh. Meanwhile, we're tired. I damn near broke my ankle because of a tackle in a scrimmage after a two-minute drill that coach didn't like. So I think the teams that get it, they're very fresh and very lax on the schedule. They understand that they've been doing this all year.
I've seen it because in the time I grew up, when we were from middle school to early high school, I mean, you would get practiced like a dog. I mean, you would not stop. 2 a days, well, hell, it was 3 a days. And by the time it was my senior year, they cut down practice by almost 60 hours.
Yeah.
And then you weren't allowed to hit a certain amount of days. And it's like, whoa, like, we're not ready, but we're more fresh. We're like, our legs are under us. We're not nervous. We're not, like, tired going into the games. And I don't know how it would affect a team that late into a bowl season. It's a different level of play, much more physical, but I think players appreciate the rest. I think the mental rest is more important than even the physical rest.
Yeah,
like, you
100%.
just get away from the grind for even a week.
Yeah.
It does wonders.
How does that lengthy delay from the end of the regular season, it's usually like 3 weeks to your bowl, like what does that do for a team's momentum? Because if you're hot and then you have to take 3 weeks off and then some guys are sitting out, like just everything changes. So it's almost like you're playing with a new team in a bowl game. Is it?
It's true. I think part of it is, because it's always been that way. We will play Thanksgiving. At Thanksgiving will probably be either the week before we play Ohio State usually or the week after we play Ohio State. But then from there, you're resting until the bowl. But it lets people get back fresh. It allows people to get healthy. It allows you to get away from the game a little bit. So that part is good. I think the other part of it too, man, is just playing against teams you don't know. Like that, playing against teams you don't know. Like you watch the first series of Cincinnati, Alabama. I mean, Alabama went up the field. Right. Cincinnati hasn't seen that. They don't know this team. But at the same time, if you watch Cincinnati, they ran right up the middle with the running back. They ran right up the middle on them. Had a couple passes completed. Missed some opportunities down there in the red zone. But I think that initial is where you see like that long period of a team you don't know. Where you start to see people settle in is around that second and third possession. Now it's the second, now it's the third possession. Now we can get back into the rhythm of who we are, what we've been doing, and now we understand that this team is either better than us or this team isn't on our level.
Braylon, before we get into the game, maybe more in depth, you've played in a Rose Bowl.
2.
And you understand just how meaningful it is. I mean, for me, the Rose Bowl, outside of the Natty, it is the most astounding, the best bowl game to watch.
It's the oldest.
And it's not just I feel that way, America feels that way.
I think I know where you're going.
It gets the best ratings every single year, outside of the national championship game.
Right.
And now we're seeing players from Ohio State pulling out of the Rose Bowl. Now,
Do they have enough
Wilson,
to play a game?
I get it.
Do they have enough to play a game?
I don't know, but look, I get it if you're number one pick. I got it, but man, I couldn't imagine skipping out on an opportunity to play in a Rose Bowl my senior year.
Yeah.
And I don't know, what's the mindset? I get you're going to be a projected top 15, 25 pick. And totally the right move for you to step out if that's what you feel is best for you.
But back in Braylon's day, it was not to like make you sound old or anything, but back in my day,
it was unheard of.
but like it was the winner of the Pac-12 versus the winner of the Big Ten. So you were getting a championship matchup. Now it's like the leftovers from the Big Ten that couldn't make it, and then a Pac-12 game if they didn't make it. So you don't have that stigma.
Oh, by the way, which is Utah, which it's not like USC
it's
back
not sexy.
in the day. It's not like Oregon.
I like Utah, man. I already bought all in on Utah this weekend.
Yeah, but Utah's not sexy. It doesn't sell. Like when I see that on a billboard, I'm like, oh God, the Utah game's on.
It's the Utes.
It's a good program. It's like one of those middle tier programs above average. But
right, but you prefer a USC to be in there, a UCLA, like a big
Utah
program.
To be Oregon in the game. I picked them to double up. We did, and we picked them. So to answer that correctly, I'm thinking when I played, like you said, Stick, it was different. Like you wanted to play, you wanted to finalize the game, and that usually was playing for something special. That was either playing for a top finish in the top 5 or it was playing for a national championship. Like the year after me, which was Texas and USC, which was arguably the best ever. But what you're saying now, I think it's one of those situations where if I'm a player, let's say insert guy that's going in the first round, and 5-6 guys are opting out, or 4 guys are opting out. You're like, well, I want to play. I want to finish strong. This game does mean something. I mean, Ohio State has the second most Rose Bowl wins ever. I want to contribute to that. I want to go out with a bang, but shoot, a lot of the guys that I know we need to win, they're not playing. Like, do I want to risk getting hurt? Should I take a chance for them? To be honest, I don't know what I would have done in these moments now.
It's tough.
It's
tough
really
to say,
tough. I easily could say, you know what? I'm a traditional man. I love to go out there. I love to add to the stats. I love the stat pad, the record book. I would love to do that. I would love to try to get a win, go out with a bang for Lloyd, who was my coach at the time. But at the same time, I don't want to go out there and get injured.
Different now.
Like, I had Lloyd's of London. Even back then, I had a Lloyd's of London deal. So if I would have got hurt, they would have covered, my projection. I would have got paid. But it's still an injury. It's Lloyd's of London.
But you are the number 3 overall pick in the NFL draft, right? We're seeing guys that are going to go late second round now. Like, I'm not about this bowl life. Like, I understand if you're protecting yourself. Like, a number 3 overall pick, I understand that. Like, and as a teammate, I would understand, like, hey, my boy about to go get paid. I don't want him to bust his ankle in this last game, so I completely understand that. But now, like Adam said, Kenneth Walker, he's not going to be a first-round pick. Yeah. He could have played yesterday. Obviously, he's putting himself at risk, but at the same time, your teammates, man. Like, that's my teammate. Like, that's what frustrates me, and I'm not sure how I would feel in the locker room like that. Like, okay, you're the top guy. We know you're going to get $100 million. Okay, protect yourself. But you, no, get out on the field with the rest of us who busted our ass.
The kicker saying, hey, I'm stepping out for this one, boys. I'm projected to go in the 7th round maybe, so I got to sit this one out.
It's not necessarily like that, but to your point, I see where you're coming with it. Kenneth Walker didn't play. He opted out. And you and I talked about this. I guess I got a point this way, it looks like. But you and I talked about it. You know what I'm saying? Talking about Kenneth Walker. I didn't think he could do anything else to help himself. But we did talk about the fact that people hadn't seen him in a long time. So out of sight, out of mind. So maybe he could have done that and helped himself. But the only person that's gotten injured at the end of the year and still gotten drafted high or drafted where they said they were going to be was Willis McGahee. He got injured against Ohio
and that
State.
Injury.
Yeah, exactly. Knee bent back. Mike Dawes helmet on knee. He would have been a targeting nowadays.
I would say Tua, but it was mid-season, so
yeah.
I guess that
I'm saying running back. I'm saying like running back.
Okay.
So running back. So literally, Kenneth Walker, let's say he's a running back. No one likes drafting running backs high anymore, especially not this guy right here. So if Kenneth Walker gets hurt, and he's projected 2nd round, he gets hurt. They say it's a bad injury. Like, he can recover from it, but it's a bad injury. He's already
lost
dropped
the second contract.
He's already dropped from the 2nd to the probably 6th, 5th, 6th. That's a big difference versus being an individual that's a top first-round pick, and he outside a wide receiver, he outside a quarterback.
And do you think it's different from a transfer porter guy? A transfer guy that wasn't there freshman year to senior year, living it with his brother. Like, he's just in for 1 year, using it for all he got. He got what he needed. Now he's out.
No, because even though it was 1 year, that 1 year was very pivotal to what Michigan State is now and what they're going to be. He was there from the ground floor in terms of building that identity. Yes, he wasn't there last year when Tuck's first year, but everybody has forgotten about Tuck's first year. This technically
that was a COVID year.
Exactly. This technically is COVID. This technically is Tuck's first year. Now you got keep chopping, Tuck coming. You got 11 wins. You beat Michigan at home. It was a great win. You were literally leading the charge for the Heisman for a long time. Tuck became the highest paid NCAA coach ever during that season. He's not anymore. Obviously, Lincoln Riley's taking over that.
And Lincoln gets a PJ.
Oh, my God.
And private jet for life. That was the best part of that deal. For his friends and family. Imagine that.
24/7 access.
Imagine that. Hey, we want to go to Cancun. All right, cool.
So with that being said, he technically is a part of that brotherhood because he was there this year when they created it. So I don't think it's that. I just think he, as a running back, it's tough, especially when they're already projecting you a 2nd round. Because if they're projecting you 2nd, that doesn't mean you're going to be 2nd. That means you could slip to 3rd, depending on how you test. Who says he's that fast? You can get a hamstring injury. Ernest Shazer, a guy he got a hamstring injury when he ran at the combine. He ran at pro day, didn't run good because of the hamstring injury. He didn't get drafted, and he was up for he was up for the Thorpe, and he was All-American. So sometimes you just got to protect your interests, and I think that's what he did. And I can agree with him. I don't have a problem with it.
Well, we got some highlights of you, Braylon, back when you were playing for
University
of Michigan.
Is this beta?
This is a little collaboration of everything. Here's you versus Washington catching bombs.
This is my first touchdown ever.
Dude, and I didn't know before I was doing the research and pulling out. I didn't know you wore 80. I think that should be like a fun trivia question for everybody. Did you know that Braylon Edwards was once upon a time number 80 in a Michigan uniform?
This is a great game right here. This went to overtime. It's like the first overtime game I played in. We scored a touchdown here. I scored 2.
I could have caught that.
To tie the game. It was good defense. If they showed it back, he has his arm all around my arm. It was a good catch. It was a great throw. But it's a funny story about that one. We don't have time for it. But me and Chris got in trouble the night before with Lloyd. So when we were losing, me and Chris were like talking about Chris Perry. We knew we had to win that game. And Chris ended up winning in overtime with a 2-yard run.
He was a hell of a running back, man. Really quick feet on him.
He got to the Heisman. Finished third in the Heisman.
So, as a former college player who's played in bowl games, what is your mindset on a day like today? What is your routine? Are you trying to keep your game day routine from the regular season? Because, there's cameras, there's interviews, there's hoopla, there's all this stuff that we hear about all the time during the Super Bowl. But now you're talking about 17, 18, 19, and 20-year-olds dealing with it in Florida, in Miami. Like, how does a college kid prepare for that?
So the interesting thing is I never played a night game. So that's a whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about kids, they're like you said, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. This is a night game, which means they have more time throughout the day. So this is going to be on the coaches. This is going to be on the coaches to when they get to the stadium, like how they keep these guys, where they give them a little bit of peace, a little bit of quiet. But just the prep of a day of a game is, you whatever your wake up is, because the first thing is breakfast,
right?
Or for breakfast and then a meeting. Just go over it. I tell Andrew Anthony this. I told Blake Corum this during the season. Literally, just go over it mentally. Have a mental day. As soon as you wake up, know your plays. Hey, I know on this play, I'm doing this. Check it off. Just keep looking at your plays and start visualizing yourself. When you're in your room, you walk around. Like, let's say you're a little older, you got your own room. But if you're not older, you're a young guy, you got a roommate. Walk the plays out with your roommate. Like, you guys are probably playing the same position in college if you have a roommate. Hey, look, if I'm running this, boom, we're doing this. Like, just walk through it in the hallway. Like, everything is visual. It's like that movie, The Dirty Dozen, man. Soup, Eric Campbell. Shout out to my wide receivers coach. He's at Bowling Green now. He showed us The Dirty Dozen. It's an old war movie to where they went on a secret covert mission. Like 12 guys. That's why it's called The Dirty Dozen. They were the worst of the worst. They were all like honorable discharge type individuals that they put on this special mission. They worked. And when it was time for the night of the mission, they went over the plan. Like every day, the night before the mission, they went over in the airplane. They went on them when they landed. They went on them when they were in separate cars. Just keep mentally visualizing what you have to do. And then after that, breathe.
Because it's still a day. It's still a game, right? It's at the end of the day.
It's hard to fathom that, saying it's just a game, because we all know that it's not. But at the core, it is just a game.
Well, what's funny to me is I think the further we go in this age of society where social media is a big deal, everybody has an opinion, everybody wants to say something, everyone's entitled, we get less patient.
Yeah.
And my feeling going into the season with Michigan was I'm going to be patient with Jim, but I won't be complacent. If I see regression, I'm done. I'm pulling the cord. I don't care. I don't care how upset people get. If you're regressing, I'm not going to be a part of it. They didn't just regress. They took it to the next level. Yeah. They were phenomenal. And there are only 2 coaches in this program's history that have more 10-win seasons than Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Bo Schembechler, Lloyd Carr. No one else.
Yeah.
No one else.
And that's always been my argument with Jim Harbaugh. Like, all right, you don't like him? Who's better?
No one.
That's the
and
thing.
Who's available right now?
Exactly.
Lincoln Riley was not coming
and
here.
even if you do bring in someone better, they're going to be marginally better. They're not going to be head over tails better. They're like
3 NFC championship games.
Jim Harbaugh, when he came in, the program was in shambles. Like, they were losing to Appalachian State. They were, it was just. I had a lot of friends that go to Michigan that it was kind of like, keep
your head down.
Yeah, Michigan football. They were giving away $1 tickets with a Coke at the bookstore. Remember that? They had to run.
I did hear about that.
That was like, I would never in a million years think that Michigan would wind up in that situation. Then you get a guy like Jim Harbaugh that comes in here and he reinvigorates the program. Now, was it the leaps and bounds and we're in a national championship year 2? No, he's had trouble finding his quarterback. He's had trouble getting things exactly where he wants it. But at the end of the day, you're better off now than where you ever were. And I think Adam speaks to this a lot. Michigan sometimes holds themselves to a standard that they've never really had.
Yep.
Yeah, this is...
And that doesn't have to be a bad thing. Like, guys, who wins the national title every year? One team.
Nobody.
Alabama.
Well, yeah, Alabama.
One team wins the national title every year.
Alabama.
One team wins the Big Ten. One team wins the SEC. One team wins the ACC title every single year. There can only be one champion. Yeah. If Michigan, like it has been, is always in the running, fighting, that's a good program. Right. Now, their problem is they went a long time, since 2004 up until this year, since they won a Big Ten title game. That was the problem.
Right.
And that's what Jim was really brought to do. But, guys, Jim Harbaugh came in. They had won 6 Big Ten games the previous 2 years under Brady Hoke.
Yeah.
He walks in year 1, delivers 6.
No, you're right about in terms of like that undeserved feeling of what we entitlement versus what they've done. Michigan's always been that way. They had the most wins in NCAA history. They won a lot of Big Ten championships in the 70s, the 80s, and 90s. Hell, my dad won 4 out of 5. Hell, I won 2 out of 2 and could have won 3 out of 2. So there is that. You know, there's a lot of that you have, and then obviously you have 97. 97 was a magical year.
Great year.
Like, you know, if the Bears can hold on to 85, then damn it, Michigan can hold on to 97. So
I was at that Ohio State-Michigan game that year.
Up the sideline.
It was amazing, like electric. And, you know, Charles Woodson walking around afterwards with the rose in his mouth. It was a special moment for Michigan.
So there is that. But to your point, Michigan isn't a team that's competing for the national championship, at least at the end of the year, every year.
Right.
Now, starting the season, that's always the goal. That always has been the goal. But it just never was necessarily at the end. So I definitely understand where you get that from. But, you know, Jim Harbaugh getting back to that. He definitely has won a lot of 10 games. The thing that people complained about, I think, is he came in, actually won more games his first year than he should have.
They were unranked.
He played without his recruits,
they
too.
played Utah week 1.
And should have beat him. Like, what's number 15? Jake Rudock overthrew J.U. Chesson twice. They could have been undefeated that year going into the Ohio State game. But with that being said, I think it's little things that bother people over there. Like, you ask 10 wins, but like, who are the 10 wins against? You start looking at the names, like, okay, well, I mean, it's 10. It's like same thing we're doing with Cincinnati. It's like, y'all, you're undefeated, but who are y'all playing?
Right.
The little things. It's like, where's the quarterback? You're the quarterback whisperer. Why haven't we seen the quarterback?
That has been a question.
It's the Michigan State game. Like, why didn't you go max protect?
Right.
Like, the infamous trouble with the snap.
Jalen Watts Jackson.
Yeah, not be able to be in Ohio State. I don't mind that so much. I mean, Ohio State, most people can't beat them.
Yeah, nobody has.
Whenever they lined up Jim Harbaugh's record, I was like, all right, that's cool. Go ahead and line up Michigan State, Mark D'Antonio's record. Go ahead and line up Penn State's record as well. It's the same. So I get that as well.
And to me, what was important about Harbaugh when he was winning those games, yes, it wasn't against the big rivals, but as long as you set your floor here, you're doing something good. Now, that shouldn't be your ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to push past it like they have this year and done a great job doing that. But whenever that's your floor, you're fine. Like, I'm okay with that. And that's why I never really panicked with Harbaugh, because the floor was so high. And the ceiling can only be higher.
The two things that really made me panic is 3 things. One, his arrogance. Like, when you're not getting it done, you can't be that arrogant. And that's what changed this year. He even talked about it.
Self-awareness.
He even talked about it this year. He says, you know what, I had to step outside myself and I had to relearn some things. I had to be open to change. That's one thing. 2, the other thing that bothered me about Jim Harbaugh in terms of versus other individuals, it's like, your players aren't getting any better. Jim will bring in 5 stars. They will leave 4 stars, or they will leave 3 stars, or they will get to the NFL and it will take them a while to develop, and then they get better.
Right.
My problem is, why aren't you developing these players?
Like Rashawn Gary.
Oh my God, he was so average at Michigan. Like,
I know.
Like, he was 1 quarter, and then the rest of 3 you wouldn't hear about him. You only hear about Mo Hurts.
And that was the number 1 prospect coming out of high school that year too. And I remember them signing him.
Wormley at Michigan was better than Rashawn Gary at Michigan.
Yeah, and then Gary makes it to the pros, and now I think he's great.
Playing,
He's great.
The weird thing
really
about
helping
Harbaugh
them about Green Bay
is he's recruited really good players,
right?
And they never took that next level in
because
college.
The players
but they did at
the coaching staff, because the coaching staff, like the coaches, and that's why I said this year it's so great to see the coaches, because the coaches on the coaching staff, he brought in a lot of NFL style coaches.
15 coaches under the age of 45 were brought in this
Exactly. He has a lot of NFL style coaches. The NFL style coaches, they're not about trying to develop kids. They're about, you're supposed to come here, you're ready right now, it's time to go.
Right, you're getting paid now. You're a professional.
It's time to go versus having the guys that come in and take their time. Mike Hart, look at that backfield this year. Have they lost a fumble?
I don't think so.
Guess who else didn't lose a fumble?
Blake Corum did.
One.
Yeah.
One.
I think that's it. That's the only one I remember.
They lost one fumble this year under Mike Hart. Guess who else didn't fumble? Mike Hart. 4 years, he didn't fumble to his last game against Florida and Tim Tebow. Like, that's a learned behavior. You know what? That's over-exaggerated. That's every day. Hey, Blake. Hey, Donovan. Hey, Hassan. Right here.
4 points of pressure, baby.
You know about it. 4 points of pressure. And man, so that's what I'm saying. You bring guys in, you teach the game. Now you're seeing players excel. You're seeing players get better week to week. Like, just imagine it. Just look at the Northern Illinois game to the Washington game to the next game to the next game to here we are now. Right. Look at the tight ends. You didn't even hear about the tight ends until the Nebraska game.
Yeah, and it all has turned
all
into
of a
the
sudden,
man.
That Nebraska game, they showed out. They made some big catches in that fourth quarter. Now they're giving them more chances. They were just really good blocking tight ends. Now you see that they can play.
Well, you're talking about specific players, so let's get into that. We got some players to watch this game, and obviously, first and foremost, when you talk about players to watch, Aidan Hutchinson is the guy. I mean, potential #1 overall draft pick. Absolutely dominates people. Look at this.
Yeah,
look at the play. Blow 75 up.
Did you see the beginning of that play where they motioned him over, like the center was pointing at him?
No.
So they were pointing at him, and that's why he gets mad. He was talking about this play on the Chris Long show.
Okay.
Chris Long has a podcast, and basically the guy was talking some stuff to Aidan, and was like, yeah, you know, he was like, yeah, bring it on. Yeah, bring him over, and you'll see Aidan, like, telling him to come over. And he knocked the guy over. Look, Aidan's a man-child. Aidan does it both. He's great in the run, and he's great in the pass. Like, he's great in the run, and he has a great team. He has a great defensive line around him. He's a leader, all that. He's going to give it everything he has against those guys. I think he's going to surprise Georgia, because Georgia, that SEC has that you know what. You know what it is. SEC thinks they are the SEC. They think they're better than them. I guarantee they start off in single coverage on him. I don't think Kirby Smart is going to double coverage him. They're not going to try to chip and do things like that.
We talked to Jake Butt on Thursday. And he told us Aidan Hutchinson, before the season started, before even camp, went to the coaches in spring and said, I want you to milk every little last ounce out of me. I want you to treat me. I want you to rag me. Treat me like absolute crap. Ring me in front of the whole team. I don't care what it takes. I want to play the best football I've ever played. And if you guys actually paid attention to Aidan Hutchinson, his first 3 years at the university, he was non-existent. 2.5 sacks in 3 years.
Yeah.
Non-existent. And this year, 14 sacks. It's on the screen.
Yeah, look at his stats here. I mean look at his freshman year, 12 total tackles, 5 solo, 7 assists. Then, his sophomore year is where you really started to get a feel of what this kid could be. 68 total tackles, 34 of them solo, 34 assists, 4.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles.
He was injured last year.
Yeah, and then the COVID year was a 4-game season or whatever. Yeah. So those stats you can kind of just throw out the window. But then you see this year, I mean, he didn't have as many tackles as he did in 2019, but look at the difference in sack numbers from 4.5 to 14.
The other thing about that, too, not to cut you off, Adam,
no, you're good,
is just also remember this. How much did he play in that Northern Illinois game?
Not much.
How much did he play in that Washington game?
Right.
Not the fourth quarter. How much did he play in this Maryland game? How much did he play?
He could be chasing 20 sacks right now.
He could easily be chasing 20 and more tackles. But to that, they split him. They take him off the field at times because they have great players that they understand the teams that they're playing against. They know what they're going to be able to do. So he also doesn't have a lot of tackles because guys are always playing from behind when you're playing against Michigan.
Right.
So guys got to put that ball in the air, which means the guys that are catching the ball, the guys with the ball are going to be behind him, as opposed to running towards him. So those are deceiving stats a little bit.
I think what's crazy about Aidan Hutchinson is he propelled himself into the Heisman voting race. Where he finished second. It was really the last 3 games of the year. Look, he was a good player, dominant. But the 15 quarterback pressures against Ohio State, that was mad.
Well, that's when you do it. When you're doing it against the best.
Penn State, Michigan State, Penn State, Ohio State, Iowa, and Nebraska. The last 5 weeks. When Ryan made that comment, everybody was, they were laughing it up. And I had to sit back there, and I was like, Ryan said, he's going to end up finishing higher than, Ken Walker. I was like...
Yeah, y'all caught some heat for that, man.
I said, but when he first said it, I kind of had a moment where I was like, what? And then I started thinking as the show went on, I said, you know what? I said that could be a thing.
But Braylon, that's the big mistake you made. See, Ryan said it, and you went there, you're like, what?
Well, I backed him on the show.
But then you thought.
I backed him on the show.
Yeah, but then you started to think.
Yeah.
People don't do that. They just they end where you started, right? They were like, oh, what do you say? Then they don't think after. So when Ryan did say that, I had the same exact response as Braylon. I'm like, Ryan, look, Kenneth Walker's literally the front runner right now. Yeah. Nobody expected to fall off the injury against Ohio State. No, but I mean, even then, you did notice that. Who was the best player on Michigan? Aidan Hutchinson. Who was the most dominant player on Michigan? Aidan Hutchinson. And that was going to catch up eventually.
Yeah, it's real. You know, I think the way I end up breaking it down is you start to look at Michigan State. You start to think, they're going to have to play against Ohio State. They're going to have to play against Penn State. Because this is even before. This is after they played Michigan. The running back position is so difficult to win the Heisman as we watch.
Sorry, Alabama just got intercepted.
I heard somebody scream. So as you look at running backs, it's only 3 in the last 20 years. Reggie Bush won it. Derrick Henry won it, and Mark Ingram. But if you look at their stats, you're like, I get it. Even the guys that didn't get a chance to win it. Like, look at Melvin Gordon's stats.
Right.
Look at Bryce Love's stats. And look at Christian McCaffrey's stats. Like, they were so massive, I started to say, you know what?
Jonathan Taylor.
Braylon, what was your Heisman moment in college? Where, like, you could look back, like, what was a Heisman moment? Is it the 2-touchdown performance against Michigan State?
There was 3 of those.
What was overtime,
that
baby.
moment? Was it that game? And why I'm asking you this is when Kenneth Walker ran for 5 touchdowns against Michigan, Devil's Night.
Yeah.
October 31st or October 30th, excuse me.
Same night as my night.
And they were both undefeated. And he carried that team. I'm sorry, that propels you to a level that I don't think anybody expected.
Yeah, no, I agree. Mine was the same night. I mean, it was the same Michigan State game. It was like the 3 overtimes because that game's over. It was like people left the stadium. You know, and it goes into the nighttime, and, you know, here we are. We come back, we win that game. You're right. I mean, what he did in that moment, 5 touchdowns, and he did it. They needed them.
It wasn't padding 5 touchdowns.
Exactly. They needed every one of those touchdowns. Mm-hmm. They needed every one of those moments, and he was there, and he delivered.
How many were broken plays? How many were? He was stuffed in the backfield. He ran into his own lineman, had to run 3 yards back. I mean, it reminded me of Barry Sanders that night, and then he would have to run to the complete opposite other side of the field.
His explosion through the hole that day was crazy.
This is what I talked about after watching the Michigan State game. I went and literally was like, you know what? I'm at peace with what happened because I know we're going to get better. And I saw some things that, like, one of the biggest things they changed, setting the edge. Because, you know, it's a couple big runs that Michigan had early in the year. Kenneth Walker had a couple of them in the game that they played in East Lansing. Northwestern had a 75-yard touchdown on one of these. What happens is, because the D-line does a great job of stuffing it where you can't go anywhere. So Kenneth Walker's running into his guys because his guys can't get any push. And then what happens is, after he runs into his guys on the right, takes a second, he looks to the left, bounces it to the left. They don't set the edge because they over pursue. Talking about the safety and the cornerbacks on the backside, they were over pursuing, which means when he bounced back, there was nothing there. That's what Michigan got good at because Travion Henderson tried to do that a couple times. It wasn't there.
Right.
The same thing wasn't there anymore. Iowa tried to do that. It wasn't there. They learned from their mistakes. So that's why I said that Michigan. Well, to you said that you got to look yourself in the mirror. And I guarantee you, the DB coach, Coach Klink, he looked at those kids and he said, I'm not going to bang on the desk because I know people say it drives them crazy. We got to start setting the edge. And they started doing that.
Well, I mean, I loved it all year. Look, even early on, when I saw Kenneth Walker go to the house game 1, I believe
Miami?
I was on board. I believe it was Northwestern, actually.
Miami.
First game of the season. No. Northwestern, Miami.
Oh, you're right. It was at Thursday. They played Thursday or something.
So he goes off that night, and then Michigan opens up. Ronnie Bell gets hurt. It's against Western. And I'm like, man,
Michigan doesn't even have Ronnie Bell.
I have 2 different perspectives about these teams' outlooks. I'm really high on Michigan State. Michigan, they just lost their best receiver.
Yeah.
But that offensive line travels. That run game travels. And up until this year, it had never translated into beating Ohio State, beating your rivals, or winning a Big Ten championship. So excuse half of America. That was not half, all of America. That was skeptical that you could take a run game down to Columbus and win.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of running backs, I mean, we talked a lot about Kenneth Walker, but let's focus on the guys that are actually going to be playing tonight to get into that national championship game.
Not opting out.
Not opting out, yes. Kenneth Walker, do what you got to do. But, yeah, no, there's guys that are playing with their team tonight, and Blake Corum, the running back for Michigan, is another player that I think we should focus on. I mean, this guy, he's like a Mighty Mouse. You know, he's small, but he's so fast. This play alone is amazing, and you got to check out McNamara too. Like this was amazing that McNamara was able to beat him down the field.
What you gotta love about this play in Blake Corum is one, you gotta love he got there, he saw it fast, he hit it. What I love about him is like Mike's was somewhat different, and that's what that's the coaching, because Mike could bounce around, find a hole, make you miss, and do all that. Blake can hit it. But then Blake also has the tempo to slow down or tempo to stop and go and get out there. You saw him, boom, shoot the gap. Like, look at this. So this is actually what I was going to say. Look at him right now. Now he's blown. He gets caught on this, but you know why he gets caught? His ankle was messed up. Didn't play the week before this because he had the ankle injury against Maryland. Started to get it back a little bit, so he plays against Ohio State. If his ankle is 100%, he scores. The next week in the Big Ten Championship, you see him burst on the scene and you see him take off. You see him score against Iowa. His ankle still wasn't 100%. That's why you see J.J. McCarthy catch him.
I love that. I love that number right there, Braylon. 6.7.
He's
6.7 yards a carry. I mean, unbelievable. Hassan Haskins, if you go look at his year, I mean, obviously he was the feature back and Corum getting hurt. He really had to take that bell cow position. But, I mean, together they're roughly averaging about 5.8 yards a carry. You're getting a first down every two times you run the ball.
It's tough when you're playing against a team like Michigan that has a backfield like this. I mean, this is it's similar to Mayan Williams and Travion Henderson down at Ohio State, but it's very different. Blake Corum is a special back because he can do special things. He can do special things from the speed, moving in slot, going in motion. You can move him around a lot. You scare defenders, you scare the defense, you confuse them. He has to account for a lot of people, a lot of eyes at all times. Hassan Haskins is a guy, he can start to catch out the backfield. Who knew? The last 3 games, he's
Donovan
been catching
Edwards. Talk about catching out of the backfield.
I haven't even gotten there. He might be the best wide receiver on the team.
That's crazy, man.
Not named Ronnie Bell.
And he's built like a house.
He's built like a house. He has an arm. I think
true freshman, right?
Yeah,
true freshman.
West Bloomfield, baby.
That is the thing that you gotta love about Josh Gaddis, and that is the thing. He legitimately gets better and better and better as the season goes on, game by game, situation by situation of going into that bag. People forgot, and we talked about this on air. People forgot Donovan Edwards played quarterback. His last 9 games at West Bloomfield, when they won the state title last year, he played quarterback. That's something you added to the equation. Catching out of the backfield. He had 170, if I'm not right, against Maryland.
Yeah, 10 catches, 170.
I was going to say 10, 11 catches. Yep.
So these are things you're starting to add, and you're starting to look. The thing I hope that it's not too much. Like sometimes when you have too many weapons, you have too much going on for you, you think too much. You overwhelm yourself. You're like, well, we got this, we can do this, and you're thinking too much, and you put too much into the package. I hope they don't do all that. I hope they pay attention extremely what Georgia does well, what Georgia doesn't do well, and make the package and the players based on that.
Look, I think the front 7 of Georgia is no joke. I understand Bama pushed them around, but that's Bama. I'm going to leave that on the side for now.
I would agree.
Michigan, if they can take care of the front 7, and I'm not saying they need to dominate them, but if they can be patient and just rely on what got you there, run the ball, be persistent, not complacent, not arrogant, not stubborn, but don't lose sight of running the football too early. Don't give up on it if they're going to frustrate you for the first half. Aidan Hutchinson walking on TV right now looks way better than I do right now. But
dude, looking clean, bro. I want one of those warm-ups. Could you get one of those warm-ups for us?
Yeah, man.
You get the hookup, Braylon?
I definitely can. To your point, you're 100% right. Don't let Georgia dictate what you do. Mm-hmm. Don't let Georgia dictate, say, like, oh, you know, we can't run the ball. We're going to pass. No. Keep it together. Keep it together, because if Georgia sees that they dictated your mindset, when they dictated the shift, they're going to let the dogs out. No pun intended.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the third player that we want to highlight, pay attention to, and to me, you know, we call Jim Harbaugh the quarterback whisperer, and this is the guy that's going to have an important role in this game. He may win it, but we know he's not going to lose it, right? That's the one thing, and of course we're talking about Cade McNamara. I mean, here he is getting some love from, of course, Juwan Howard, meeting him in the tunnel after a game. And that's the one thing you love about Michigan right now. You feel the family atmosphere across all sports. You know, it's not just siloed out. Like, this is the basketball team, that's the football team. It's like, no, we're Michigan. We're a family, and they're together on this.
You know who does a good job of that is Michigan State. Like, in Michigan State, you always see Izzo, because he loves football more than basketball, which is funny. You see Izzo at the basketball games. You see the football coach at the basketball games. You see Izzo at the football games is what I meant. You see players getting honored. You see players on the sideline. You see players having a good time. You see, it's so much spread out love as it relates to Michigan State. They're starting to do the same thing in Michigan. Like, players want to be there. Coaches want to be there. You see Red Berenson. Like, he was at one of the Michigan games this year on the sideline, former hockey's coach. So you see that love, and that goes a long way. But are we talking about Cade? Talking about Cade, Mr. 4 interceptions, and that is all.
And I want to talk to Adam about this too.
Yep.
Because you were very hard. You were very hard on Cade early in the season. This guy's not the guy. He's not going to get you there. This is not the guy to lead you to a championship. What changed?
It came together for Michigan is what changed. We had a 6-year sample of a below-average game-managing, quote-unquote, quarterback at the program every single year. The ones that couldn't deliver, be dynamic, and win you football games. And then you had this kid, and J.J. McCarthy, who was explosive every single game to start the year when he came on. Yes, I understand the teams were blown out. I get it. But the point was, you were going toe-to-toe to Ohio State. This is before they lost to Oregon, before you started to see flaws in Ohio State. And the conversation was simple. Can J.J. McCarthy or Cade McNamara win you a Big Ten championship? That's what you're here to do if you're Michigan.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody was bought into Cade. And the ones that were bought into Cade, honestly, they were probably on drugs. But look, to Cade's credit, I am so happy for the kid. I mean, he's stepped up to the plate all year. I think his best attribute isn't that he protects the ball. It's he's the calmest guy on the field out of all 22 players at any given moment. And that, I think, is probably
him and Jake Moody.
That is the first time I've seen that with any Michigan quarterback under Jim Harbaugh. And even when you see J.J. McCarthy enter the game, I mean, obviously it's a big play after big play after big play. But J.J.'s got to develop what Cade McNamara has right now, which is poise, leadership, and the ability to take a play. You know what? If it's not going to work, have a bad play. Throw it away. Take the sack. Live to fight another day. And JJ's a freshman, totally get it. He's probably happy Gilmore probably. But the point is, early on, Cade wasn't giving you anything. He was just handing the ball off. You were beating all the teams that you expected to beat. Yeah. And then Michigan State came around. And it was at that moment where, you know what, I stepped back and I said, look, he cost you the game in the fourth quarter, whether you want to admit it or not. But, you know, I'm willing to look past that. He showed me that he can make throws.
He threw for over 300, right?
Yeah, in the first 3 quarters. Unfortunately, when they needed him, he didn't show up. But I don't want to slander him. Where I'm going with this is, you know what? He showed it against Penn State, Nebraska, Michigan State, Maryland.
And Nebraska is the one that did it for him, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, the good interesting thing about that is Michigan's never had the quarterback that just went out there and threw for 400 against Ohio State. They've always had game managers. You can start with the way Henney. Like I didn't win with Henney, but let's do Navarre. Navarre was a game manager. You start with Brian Griese. Right. Brian Griese is one of the best comparative comparisons. When you look at Cade, I see Brian Griese. You know what I'm saying? So there's always been a game manager. What Cade does well, and what you got to give him credit for, is he's been having this guy breathing down his neck all year. And everybody all season, for the most part, there's been a couple that haven't, but for the most part all season, JJ this, JJ that, JJ should be the starter, JJ's the guy, JJ's the one that's going to get him over the hump, JJ. Never bothered him. It never phased him to what you said about
he got better.
100%. And he got calmer, got more chill, and I'm telling you, that Nebraska game, that was one that did it for him. After that Nebraska, the plays that he made in that fourth quarter, get the ball out there to win that game, that one in the Penn State, saw the confidence he needed.
Well, let's compare quarterbacks then, because obviously we got Cade McNamara going in. They have a guy named Stetson Bennett for Georgia who's looked pretty good. So here's the quarterback comparison. And who do you give this to? If you're picking, are you going Stetson or are you taking Cade to be on your team to start this game tonight?
It's not
for
even
you?
close. I'm taking Cade. Like Stetson, I've watched him play. Like he can't win. I guess he did win against Notre Dame. He's in there and he's played a very average SEC year. Notre Dame was average when they played him. Notre Dame got better as the year went along. You look at last year, struggled a lot. JT Daniels is the guy that everybody there wanted except Kirby Smart. Kobe Smart, for whatever reason, doesn't like JT Daniels, and he's not the guy. Stetson Bennett is a guy, he's just a guy. And I know you can say that about Cade. Their numbers match up darn near perfect. I think he's thrown 7 interceptions, Cade's 4. I think he's at 2,300 yards, Cade's 2,400. I think he's at 20 touchdowns, Cade's at 15. So their numbers are right there. I just don't see the leadership out of him. Okay. I see him in a space of, we have the best defense in the country. We're in the SEC. I'm not going to do much. The first time I saw him really step up is the passing yards he threw against Alabama. I think he threw over 300 that game and 2 touchdowns. But what else did he have? He had 2 interceptions, which means in a big moment when the chips are down, I'm throwing interceptions, because I'm not used to being in this moment.
Right. What's the one? Oh, go ahead.
No. Cade threw 1 interception, but how did Cade respond after that 1 interception?
Touchdown.
Boom. There it is.
What's the one game Stetson Bennett played where his team needed him?
Alabama, right.
He shrunk.
Yeah.
Cade Cunningham.
Agreed.
His team has needed him multiple times throughout the year. Penn State, Nebraska, even at times in Michigan State. And yes, it wasn't the prettiest ending, but even Ohio State.
No.
He recovered after that first quarter interception where they could have been up 14-0. He recovered, played a solid game, didn't make another turnover the rest of the game, never made a single mistake. That is the guy I want leading my football team, even if it makes it difficult for me, even if I know, my team needs to play above average. Yeah. We need to play so well to win with this guy. But damn it, you know what? We have the team to do it. That's how I feel about Michigan.
Here's how you do it, and this makes it easy. We'll call it the quarterback swap. Which quarterback, if swapped, is still the same quarterback, is still going to win the game?
Cade McNamara.
Boom. That's how you do it. Because if you put Stetson on this Michigan team, no. I'm sorry, I don't see it by a long shot. You put Cade on this Georgia team, I still see it.
Okay.
I still see him getting it done.
Well, let's move on to the running back comparison now, because Georgia has a pretty decent backfield. You look at Zamir White, James Cook, and Kenny McIntosh, and then you look at the running backs for Michigan as we went over, and obviously the one big name missing from here, too, is Donovan Edwards. Hassan Haskins, Blake Corum. I got the winner being Michigan in the backfield matchup, so far I got the winner at quarterback and at running back for Michigan. What about you guys? How you feeling about the running back comparisons between these two teams?
I'm taking Michigan. To be honest, I don't think it's close. I don't think we've had a chance. Because if you look at Georgia, and this is another thing that interests me about this game, Georgia's had good field position all year.
Right.
When you're deferring to a team and you know your defense is going to stop them, you get good field position all year. You're starting at the 40 all year. You're starting at the 50 all year. And You're going down. You're not asking the team to do much. So their yards can be a little deceiving. But with that being said, they haven't had a chance. They're by committee. Michigan, you've seen them all throughout the year in different places. You've seen them go 90 yards. You've seen them go 95 yards. You see them go 50 yards. You see them go 75 yards. You see them lining up Hassan and Blake at the same time. You see them add Donovan Edwards in the slot with Blake in the slot. You've seen them do so many different variations of backfield football, of I formation, of single or split. You see, or spread. You see and it's all successful.
Right. They can do everything.
Both running backs are over 1,000. I think Blake's right there, but Blake missed the game because he was hurt. Donovan Edwards, he would be over 1,000 too if he got playing time. But you can't get playing time when you got Hassan and Blake.
Yeah, Blake's at 939 right now, and he'll eclipse that tonight.
He missed multiple games, I believe. Not just. I think he missed early on in the year. He exited.
Oh,
second
you're right.
half.
Maryland, and then he missed.
He missed the game early on, left in the second half.
Northwestern.
Edwards came in and played Hassan Haskins took most of the carries, but
I'm gonna stick with that because they're proven, they're tried, they're true. They've done it in the big games, they've done it in the big moment. They've had more experience. You've seen more. I think with Georgia, you've seen a sample size. They have a lot of athletic, but I like Zamir. He's an athlete, but
for me, it's not a question of the backs because I think both sides are proven backs. Which O-line am I taking?
We'll get to that. Let's go wide receiver. Let's go wide receiver
my
next.
running back question.
Let's go wide receiver
next.
next.
Georgia, didn't you?
Huh?
You got Georgia?
Oh, winning or
on
the O-line? No,
we'll get to that. Guys, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
We got a little excited.
No, let's go wide receiver now. Braylon, obviously, this is a position that you have some expertise in. Georgia, we're looking at Brock Bowens, Ladd McConkey, George Pickens, Kyrus Jackson, and a couple other guys. Then we got Cornelius Johnson, Roman Wilson, Eric All, Mike Sanstrill, Draylon Baldwin, and then Andrell Anthony. I got the winner of this matchup going to Georgia. I think they're a little bit more talented when it comes to the wide receiver core. What about you guys?
I'm with you.
I think when you got Brock Bowers and George Pickens, I think you said enough. I think I like Michigan's. I like the by-committee wide receiver. I wish they would give Andrew Anthony the ball more. The stuff that he did against the Michigan State game, and even the one catch he had against Ohio State on the sideline, like, you see this guy has skill. You see he has talent. But it's just so many people needing to get the ball, needing to get the touches. Based off of what I've seen, I got to go with Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia all the way. Look, I think Brock Bowers is literally the twin of Rob Gronkowski. He reminds me so much of him. Physical at the offensive line. He can block. Yeah. He can catch. And when he catches, he's like a bulldozer. Yeah. He doesn't go down for another 6, 7, 8 yards after contact. Right. It's unbelievable. So, yeah, no, Georgia's got the edge there.
I agree.
All right, well, let's get into O-line. I know you guys want to get to the big nasties, and this is where the game is won and lost. I kind of got this being a push. You're looking at, yards per carry for the running backs, 5.28 for Georgia, 5.31 for Michigan. And what just happened? An Alabama score again?
Alabama with a touchdown.
Damn it, I want Cincinnati to at least win.
I got Bama covering. I'm sorry. This is making my night.
Throw that graphic up one more time, though, Spencer.
I just wanted a butt whooping so they keep teams like Cincinnati.
But offensive line, who you guys got?
I got Michigan.
I'm taking Michigan from what I saw. Just one game. I'm taking Michigan for what I saw against the Ohio State team.
Okay.
They pushed around an Ohio State team that didn't make sense.
They had their own coaches and players. Like, even when the players made the comments, like Ohio State players were coming out, they were like, yeah, they're right. They out physical us. Like, I saw a play, and I can't remember, it was on the goal line. I think this was Hassan Haskins' 5th and final touchdown. We have 6? No, you have 5. 5th and final touchdown. When he was going in for the score, safety, like, literally, they got the pushback. Hole opens up, sparks like the Red Sea, and you see the safety's in the hole. And then you see the safety slide over to the left.
Business decision.
He didn't want any of that smoke, man. I'm telling you, the way they played against Ohio State, you got to take this line.
Yeah, if they can keep up anything that they did at Ohio State, I like the way Michigan's looking tonight. Yeah. Let's go over to the defensive line, and this is where Georgia, I think, we're talking about the big man Jordan Davis there, Trayvon Walker, Jalen Carter, Devontae Wyatt. But, Aidan Hutchinson, he could be the number 1 pick in the draft, so he's no slouch. But I just think as a collective unit,
on Michigan's side,
Ojabo. Ojabo's a linebacker. I have him as a linebacker.
Yeah, I give you that. Okay,
that's why he's not on the D line.
Okay, you know what? Fair enough.
Yeah. So I have Georgia just because of Jordan Davis. Honestly,
so this is a tricky question because if I'm trying to get to the quarterback, I want Michigan's defensive line. If I want to stop the run, I want to take Georgia. It's so complicated because this game, I think we expect both teams to commit to the run. Yeah. So I think you got to side with Georgia. I think you made the right call.
Yeah. I still want to go. I still want to go with Michigan because I'm looking at Michigan.
Brandon's like, yeah, but not yet.
Michigan didn't allow. They allowed 100-yard rusher all year. I don't think they did.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless it was Michigan. No, I said 1. Michigan State. Stop pointing that at Spence.
Of course, Spence over there in his Michigan State jersey is like, I know of a game that they did.
And Northwestern's running back had a 75-yard touchdown. He still didn't crack 100. So it's tough, but Georgia, just if we're going with that, I like that mindset. Rushing Michigan, passing Michigan, rushing Georgia.
All right, now let's move to the linebackers, baby. And this is where you're going to see.
This is not even hard.
This is where you're going to see Ojabo, Josh Ross,
next,
Channing Tindall,
Nakobe Dean. That's all you need to know.
Mentioned he's been multiple times projected to go to the Lions with their second
Nakobe Dean.
Round pick.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wouldn't mind that at all. I would not hate that. I wouldn't hate Ojabo at that spot either, though. But I got Georgia being the winner. You guys agree?
Yeah. No doubts.
Yeah.
All right, then the last position, let's look at the D-backs, baby. And, everybody's been asking about Dax Hill. Is he going to play? He is in Florida. It looks like he is going to play, so that is a massively good thing for Michigan, and I think that's what kind of sways them over the top. I got Michigan with a better defensive backfield.
This is another tough one because Georgia has 2 of the best safeties in the SEC in terms of grades.
They got a guy named Speed, too, so, he must be pretty good.
He's not even one of them, though. It's
Dax Hill concerns me. Look, I'm sorry. Somebody's got to say it.
You gonna say he's inconsistent?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm sorry. You got to go up against Brock Bowers
Adam,
today.
when have you ever apologized for your opinion?
I don't.
Then don't. No. You don't have to apologize to Dax Hill. Say it like it is.
Is Brad Hawkins the best consistent player in that secondary?
I think so.
Brad, I would agree.
I think so. Look, Dax Hill, I was nervous against Ohio State. He came out. He had a decent game. Wide receivers were open a lot when he was coming.
Turner's come on late this year.
look, the quarterback pressure's really covered up a lot of the secondary issues, and that happens with every team.
Right.
If you get to the quarterback, your secondary players are going to look good. I don't think this is the game. I think I'm going to take the edge with Georgia. I'm sorry, it's going to be a run-heavy game from both sides. I don't think Aidan and Ojabo are going to have the opportunity to really get to the quarterback in a way that's going to make Dax Hill and all these guys look better.
Michigan gets 2 interceptions this game. I'm going with Big Blue.
Yeah, that's where I was going next. Overall, then, matchup team-wise, Braylon, I know you're taking off in a couple minutes to drive back to Ann Arbor so you can watch the game. But
Pop's house, man.
Enjoy it, man.
Who do you got?
I'm taking Michigan. And I don't want people to like view this and say it was like, oh, you view it how you want to. This is the truth. Michigan's going to win 38-20.
You're damn right there.
38-20.
It's 38-20, baby.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for the first time.
It was great, man.
Really appreciate you and everything you do for Woodward
You guys are amazing. I appreciate it, man.
Like, I just called Braylon. For everybody, for the record, I just called Braylon. I was like, hey, man, we're doing a pregame show. Do you mind just, like, calling in or something? He's like, listen. Like, I went to Michigan. I'm a part of the network. I got to be on this show with you guys. And, like, that's the type of teamwork. That's the type of effort that we have here. So can't thank you enough. We're going to take a quick 1-minute break. We'll be right back. Anthony Broom is going to join us from the Wolverine.com. And, Cincinnati almost scored but did not. But we'll be right back right here on the Woodward Sports Network.
Hi, I'm Kay Cunningham. I'm proud to partner with Hall Financial, a mortgage company known for 5-star service. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their 5,000 5-star reviews for yourself. Go to callhallfirst.com and get started with your 5-star experience today.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
What's the over-under? Should I tease? Who is the lock of the night? Make sure you're watching Woodward Bets to get the latest in sports betting and more. Woodward Bets daily on Woodward Sports.
Welcome back to the Woodward Sports Network. We are doing it. The big game is about to happen in just about an hour and 10 minutes. Braylon Edwards was joining the show, and now we get the prolific Anthony Broom from Wolverine.com. How you doing tonight, Anthony? I know you were supposed to be in Miami, but you kind of got caught with a little sickness, so you're watching it from home, right?
Yeah, I got a little down with the sickness this time around, hoping that the Big Ten championship game that I saw in Indianapolis is not the last football game I see in person this year. We'll talk about if I think that will wind up being the case or not. But no, feeling good. Today's as good as I felt all week. Charged up for a football game tonight, and yeah, let's get after it.
So we were just kind of going through the positional breakdowns with Braylon, and where do you see Michigan having an advantage in this game?
I think at quarterback is probably the biggest one. When you look at a game like this, and I think it is just so close at so many position groups, and Georgia probably has more NFL guys right now on their roster, but there's a lot of guys on this Michigan team that are underclassmen that are contributing that I think will be NFL guys after next year. So you go position by position, you look to where the margins are. Quarterback, to me, it comes down to if I need a quarterback in this game to lead a drive that is going to end in points. Cade McNamara, warts and all, and criticisms and all, given what that whole situation was throughout the year, all he's done is get the job done for Michigan. And it's in the DNA, and his DNA, the team's DNA, to go out and get points when it matters the most. So I think it's at quarterback. I also think that Michigan can be a little more versatile offensively than Georgia is, just because of all the athletes they have. I think, given how the years played out, they've developed a lot of different guys who, if you get them the ball in space, like your running backs, like an Andrew Anthony or Roman Wilson, or honestly, take your pick at wide receiver, and the tight ends have played pretty well the last month or so as well. So it's just I feel okay about Michigan offensively. Defensively, I feel like as long as they go in there and kind of stack the run, I think they're going to give themselves a pretty good shot. But for me, the two biggest advantages for them is, one, you've got the quarterback. Two, you've got the offensive line. So I guess it's three advantages. You got the offensive line against a stout defensive line for Georgia, and you've got the best pass rush in college football. So those three things, I think, are working in Michigan's favor heading into this game tonight.
It's funny you went right to the quarterback because that's similar to the exact same discussion me, Adam, and Braylon just had talking about the quarterback matchup and who would you want in the big moment. And your point was exactly in line with what Adam was saying.
Yeah, look, Anthony, I think Cade McNamara has proven all year he can step up for the team when needed. Stetson Bennett, they didn't really need him all year, even against Kentucky. It was just they were coasting. They were so dominant. And then they finally needed him against Alabama. And what happened? He didn't show up.
Yeah, I mean, the championship DNA matters in these types of games. I mean, Stetson Bennett, I mean, you got to give the guy credit for what he's been able to do throughout the year and keeping this team afloat and not losing them games. But, again, you just look to the clutch moments. I mean, when Georgia needed something to happen in the SEC championship game, they didn't have the guy to do it. On the flip side, again, every time that a guy like Cade McNamara was asked to go out and lead a scoring drive, hey, Cade, we need a field goal here, or hey, we need 6 here, or hey, we have a lead, but we're playing Ohio State. They can keep charging and keep coming. We need you to keep scoring. He's done everything that's been asked of him, and honestly, when he's locked in, I mean, yeah, you'll see every once in a while he's going to fire a ball off of the back of Andrew Vistardis' head, but other than that, I mean, in these games, he's just been. When he finds a rhythm, and I think that's going to be big for him tonight too, is getting him into a rhythm with a quick passing game early on. Because I think, for as much as we've talked about how Michigan leads the nation in plays of 70 yards and 60 yards and 50 yards, I think they're going to have to take the long way tonight and go 4, 5, 6, 7 yards at a time. And so I think that quick passing game is going to be a big deal. I think you're going to have to. I mean, you're not going to run the ball for 300 yards like you did in a lot of these games this year, but if you can run for 140, 150, I think that's going to help you stay balanced offensively and put drives together in this game.
So yeah. I'm a big vibe guy, obviously, like that, going in. And I think before the Ohio State-Michigan game, you were on our pregame show live from the Brown Jug, which was a raucous good time. I had such a good time that day. And I was talking to you about the energy of the team going into that game, how they're feeling, because obviously you have a much better pulse of them because you're in Ann Arbor, you're reporting on the team. How is this team feeling prepared-wise going into today's game? Because I've heard that some of the coaches have been impressed with the intensity in practice and just the overall focus that Michigan has.
Yeah, everything I've heard is that it's been not just this week that's been productive, but since coming back. I think they took a week off after the Big Ten championship game, but since then, I mean, the preparation has been good. Everyone's healthy. I mean, outside of the Daxton Hill quote-unquote drama or saga this week, which, by the way, he is on the field warming up in Miami right now. It looks like he's going to go tonight.
Great.
They're healthy. They've been poised. The preparation has been really good. In terms of the vibes, it's this team only has one gear to it, and it's all out focus, intensity, staying in the moment, making sure they max out every single day, every single rep that they have. That's what the DNA of this team has been all year. So I've heard nothing, and didn't see practices down there. None of the media did. They closed them off due to COVID concerns. But all the reports coming out is that it's been just a continuation of what the end of the season was.
Anthony, are you concerned with Dax Hill? Look, I'm sure they've had so much time to prepare, but my concern with him is I'm assuming they're going to match him up with Brock Bowers, who I think is probably the most unguardable player on the field tonight. He's been inconsistent all year defensively. Dax Hill needs to be an X factor tonight. Is he capable of doing it?
Of course he's capable. I mean, he's a former 5-star recruit. He's an incredible athlete. I think at times this year he's been quiet. Now, Michigan's moved him around a lot. He started the year playing kind of in the nickel and the slot, doing some of more of that stuff. And then, as of late, was playing more of the safety role. They're going to need his best game. They're going to need a lot of those guys' best game. I don't think stopping Brock Bowers is going to come down just to him. I do think that they're going to need to lean on some of their linebackers to take that. To me, that would be a bigger concern. Brock Bowers on a guy like Josh Ross, who has been good, stout in the middle, good leader for that defense, the heartbeat of that defense, but just hasn't been the most disciplined in coverage. Maybe Junior Colson. We're looking at a true freshman that might be able to have a step up and have a big game in that area. I think he's capable there. So it's going to be a group effort. I'm not I'm not really concerned about Daxton Hill. I think my concerns would more be, Georgia's got a really good offensive line. Michigan's defensive line outside of Hutchinson, Ojabo, like Chris Hinton, Mozzie Smith, Donovan Jeter, those guys are going to have big games for Michigan as well. So it's not – there have been times where Dax has kind of not been noticed out there this year, but I think he's done overall a pretty nice job, and we'll see what happens. But I don't think that's a huge mismatch. I mean, Brock Bowers is a mismatch player. I mean, you're probably just not going to – it's going to be similar probably to what the game plan was against Ohio State, where you're like, listen, these guys are going to get theirs because they're so good. You just need to keep them in front of you. So we'll see what the defensive game plan looks like. But I'm as concerned as Michigan probably is in terms of, hey, we need to scheme up something to stop this guy. So we'll see what happens.
Well, then we can flip to the other side of the ball with Michigan. How are they going to run on this defense? Because, the defensive line for Georgia is just beefcake. I mean, we're talking 1,000 pounds of man, according to, what was that quote from John Madden? Like, that was 1,000 pounds of man pushing on him right there. And that's what I think of when I think of Georgia. Does Michigan have the offensive line to be able to push these guys around, or you think they're just going to attack the outside?
I don't know if they're gonna push them around. I mean, again, this is probably the best offensive line in college football against the best defensive line in college football. So it's gonna be a battle, and it's gonna be physical. And there are gonna be reps that they lose, and probably lose badly, and there are gonna be reps that Michigan wins and is dominant in doing so. When you look at a guy like Jordan Davis, who I think is 6'5", 6'6", 340, 350 in the middle of that Georgia defense. What you want to see in a game like this and against a guy like that is you want him, again, we talked about taking the long way, putting those long drives together. You want that guy at the end of drives in the red zone, either off the field or with his hands on his hips, sucking wind. So I think that's where, the Blake Corums, the Donovan Edwards, the J.J. McCarthy look, I think could be a big deal for them. I really like, there was a couple times later in the year where we saw them with McCarthy and then Corum and Edwards on each side of him. I mean, I think there's a lot you can do with that, something out of that look. And I don't expect, we know the quarterback dichotomy is what it is. I don't think they're going to shake that up. But it's going to be like when you give that look, you need to capitalize on that look because, again, Georgia's going to make adjustments too. So, again, how are they going to be able to run the ball? I don't know. Like I said, I think it's going to be death by 1,000 paper cuts, and you're hoping to wear them down and break things open later on in the game. So, we'll see what happens there. Again, it's just if you're someone who loves smash mouth football, I mean, Michigan's offensive line just won the Joe Moore Award, which goes to the best offensive line in the country. Georgia's defensive line has 4 NFL guys that start on it and a couple more that back them up. I mean, there's going to be so much talent on the field tonight. If you love smash mouth, old school style of football, this is probably going to be the game for you.
Fair enough. Anthony, I do want to ask you one more thing real quick before we get to maybe your prediction. You talk about a smash mouth game. Michigan can't afford, in my opinion, to lose patience with the run game. How patient do you think they should be? And do you see them deviating from it early on if they go for -2, -3 a few times in the first quarter? Are you concerned that they may deviate from their original game plan, which has gotten them to where they are now?
I don't think so because, and we've seen this, even before this year, I think they are committed to the run at times. I won't say to a fault, but they're pretty hard-headed when it comes to what their identity is, what their mentality is. I don't think they'll get discouraged if things aren't working. I think that, with Josh Gaddis, who I think has taken a huge step forward as a coordinator, as a play caller, especially in the second half of the season, and Matt Weiss and Mike Hart, Sharon Moore, and Jim Harbaugh, they all have kind of combined to have this little group thing where if there's something they see, I mean, they'll attack it. That goes into game prep and also, being able to go off script, depending on how the game plays out. I don't think they're going to be worried one way or another. I mean, like I said, I think it's really important that they stay balanced. I don't think they can win this game by just running the football. They're going to have to, if there are quote-unquote weaker spots on the Georgia defense, I would say it's probably at cornerback. I don't know. That's a question mark for me because I haven't watched a ton of them before, the last couple of weeks or so. But you're going to have to be able to stay balanced. And, again, I think that with that comes, watching the Cincinnati-Alabama game, it's some of the play calling has been so boneheaded and has really taken Cincinnati out of this game. Stick to what you're good at. Try and execute what you're good at. And if you have to make an adjustment, adjust. But don't get discouraged by anything. And this is a 4-quarter football game. This is going to be a bar fight, a slobber knocker, whatever phrase you want to use to describe what we might
call
see
it
in this
football.
Game.
So we can all agree Cincinnati sucks?
Yeah, I think we all knew that going in.
All right, good.
I think the only people that didn't know that was Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I'm sorry. I'm not in favor of a team that has a worse strength of schedule record than Texas Christian, who I've never heard of until this year.
You never heard of TCU?
No. Oh, TCU. That's TCU?
Yeah.
Why the hell do they spell it like that? Why is it? What the hell is it?
Texas Christian University, TCU.
Man.
It all makes sense. It's all coming together. All right, Anthony, before we get you out of here, man, what's your final prediction? You got Michigan winning this. You got to be in a close game. What are you thinking?
Well, we've come this far. I picked Michigan in our staff picks column to win 24-20 for the reasons I talked about already earlier. I think it's going to come down to maybe who has the ball last, but also which quarterback is more capable of leading a game-winning drive. I think quarterback play is so important this time of year. And again, talking about this first semifinal, I mean, Bryce Young hasn't been Heisman Bryce Young in this game, but he's been far better than Desmond Ridder has been. And I think that this time of year that matters. And I just I'll go as far to say it now. I mean, we're so close to kickoff. I would be very surprised if Stetson Bennett outplayed Cade McNamara. So I'm going with the Wolverines. 24-20 was the score prediction, and maybe some of it's based out of my want that I still have another football game to go watch in person. But I'm sticking to it. It's the similar gut feeling that I had last time you and I talked, Sam. So I'm sticking to it. Michigan 24-20, playing Alabama for a national title.
I hope so, man.
I love it, man. Well, thank you for joining us.
If they don't win.
Thank you for your time. And can we show respect to the beard game on this panel right now? Like your beard's looking
smooth. Can you
smooth.
not shave, by the way? I mean, you look fantastic right now. Caveman DNA just coming out of you. I love it.
It's funny. I was clean shaven this morning, and then just waiting for this football game. The stress.
I love it, man.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, enjoy the game. Get healthy so we can have you live in studio next time.
Love it.
All
Talk to
right.
you guys soon.
That is Anthony Broom. He is on thewolverine.com. He's their lead writer for all things Michigan, and he's just pretty much an insider. He knows everything there is about that program, the inside and out, and how the players are doing, how the coaches are feeling. So it's always good to have him on to talk Michigan football.
Especially when he gives a prediction.
Yes.
That saves my marriage. Because tonight will be a very stressful night. I'm putting my marriage to the test tonight.
Oh, nice.
Big bet on Michigan.
I have a feeling you put your marriage to the test most days.
Week.
I love you, buddy, but come on now. What are we doing?
Every day, every week.
So let's get into how Michigan got here. The season recap, because you got to look back to look forward and see how this season played out. It started out, Michigan wasn't even ranked in the top 25 in the entire nation. And I think that's one thing that people don't really talk about a lot. A lot of times Michigan gets put up 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th with no good reason, just because they're the University of Michigan. This year, they got taken out of the top 25 altogether for no good reason. But they're the University of Michigan, and I think there's more to them getting to where they are this year than any other year.
Absolutely.
Because they had to climb the mountain.
They're the first team in college football playoff history to start the season unranked and get to the college football playoff.
That's amazing. That should be talked about more. I haven't really heard people talking about that.
It's a testament to believing in yourselves as a unit, as a locker room, as a team. They went into the season, they weren't one of the highly touted teams, but I think everybody, at least locally, you knew you were going to get a better version of Michigan. If you didn't, I mean, that was going to be a disaster.
Right.
Harbaugh was gone. The whole program would have been up in flames. But I think realistically, you looked at that team, you said, I mean, it's a good football team. Can they be great? Well, we've never seen it before with Jim Harbaugh, and that's where all the questions come from. The questions don't come from hate or from, anything outside of just, hey, you've been here this long. You haven't delivered.
We paid you your money.
Why should I go all in with you when you haven't delivered the goods yet? You have to prove it. And they did this year. And now they're Big Ten champions. First game of the year, Ronnie Bell goes down. They smack up Western Michigan. They follow that up with a beatdown of Washington. Then they go beat Northern Illinois, then Rutgers, Wisconsin, and everything.
To me,
is
Wisconsin
easy.
was the first game that it was like, okay, this team's real.
Two
Because
October road games, them in, I believe, Nebraska.
yeah, those were the first 2 games where it was like, okay, this team is legit. They're not just beating up on guys that they're supposed to beat up on, which they did earlier in the season. And then, like you said, then they had Nebraska, which
Tough game.
That was a tough game. Anytime you go on the road and play in Nebraska, it's a tough game. And Nebraska's not the greatest team right now, but they have good lineage. They're a good program. They play tough football.
Honestly, they're the best 4-win program in the country. They almost beat. Look, I know it's almost, but you got to understand the point here. They went toe-to-toe with Oklahoma, toe-to-toe with Ohio State,
right?
Toe-to-toe with everybody they played. Yes, they lost the games, but that was a good win on the road. And what has Harbaugh always struggled with during his time in Michigan? Beating Big Ten teams on the road, especially ranked teams.
Right.
So then, of course, after Nebraska, Northwestern, the tune-up game before Michigan State. Are you going to lose focus before the MSU game? No, they don't. 33-7. They handle business. They walk away with the game in the second half, and then you get to East Lansing, and that's where boys became men, in my opinion.
The energy before that game, because we did the pregame from Hopcat up there, me and Anson, and I'm telling you, like we rolled into East Lansing about 7 in the morning because we wanted to set up the broadcast equipment. You know, we put our banners outside and do all that fun stuff. And literally, there's a dude dressed up in a Spartan outfit with 2 cases of beer walking down the road. Like, girls are already drunk, got that sex hair going on, doing the walk of shame. Like, you could feel it was going to be very hard for Michigan to come in to East Lansing that day and get a win. The momentum was there. Tuck coming. It was the vibe. It was the energy. And it ended up playing out on the field. But let's not forget, Michigan had a 16-point lead in that game.
Going into the fourth quarter.
They were dominating that game. Like, they really had it controlled. And then, obviously, Michigan State did what they had to do. They protected the house. And it ended up, to me, that's what great rivalries are. And I'm not a Michigan guy. I'm not a Michigan State guy. So I thoroughly enjoyed that game. But, like we talked about earlier with Braylon, that was kind of a look in the mirror moment for Michigan. And when they finally did, they came out on the other side realizing, hey, we could beat any team in the country if we really want to. What happened there should never happen again. When we have a lead, we need to keep curb stomping people, not mess around and give them a chance to get back in the game.
And I don't mean to leapfrog forward because we'll get to the Ohio State game. But you saw against Ohio State, they got up 7-0. What happens? They force a turnover. They go down. Kate throws an interception, and Ohio State doesn't score on the next drive.
Right.
Then they go down and they get a field goal. And then they go down and get a touchdown. And you're up 14-10 at halftime. They really learned so much from that Michigan State game. But even after then, how are you going to bounce back after a quote-unquote devastating loss, even though realistically your whole season was ahead of you? You won out. You were likely in the Big Ten title game. And if you won out and a Michigan State won out, you were going to be the number 4 seed no matter what because you lost to the Big Ten champion, undefeated team in the country. It was there for Michigan. I'm not sure why the panic was there, but regardless, they take care of business against Indiana and then Harbaugh time.
Yep. This was the next step in the evolution, this
Can
Penn
you beat
State game.
a rival on the road?
Yep.
Penn State. Now, granted, it wasn't a whiteout game at night, but damn it, they fought for 60 minutes and they won that football game. And you know, it wasn't pretty, but you got to win. This isn't about you beat Ohio State by 30. Nobody cares about the margin. They care about, did you win?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's the W.
Whether
We played to win the game.
Whether you win by 1 or 30,
right.
Did you beat your rival? They took care of business against Penn State. They followed it up again the week before Ohio State. You know that you will be playing for a Big Ten title appearance. Will you slip up against Maryland?
Yeah, do you fall into the trap?
And they didn't.
No, they did not.
No, they didn't.
No, they did not.
They made Tua's brother probably want to disown him, basically. I mean, he played a horrible game. They took care of business against Maryland. And then Ohio State comes around. And my goodness, was there a better atmosphere I've ever seen at the Big House in my life?
No.
I don't think so. I could only imagine what it was like on TV. I was there. I mean, the snow gave it that, ambiance of
beautiful
football, just real tough football. And the crowd was unbelievable. I couldn't hear the person next to me between any given down. It was so loud. The fans showed up, the team showed up, and they beat down Ohio State. They didn't beat Ohio State. They beat them down.
that was a pull your pants down and spank you in front of the nation moment that Michigan hasn't ever really had, at least in 20 years. 'Cause that's what's interesting about this. Like I'm a little older than some of the guys here that work at the network. Some of them are still like 20, 21. And all they've ever known is Ohio State just cracking Michigan. Like maybe Michigan had like 3 wins in their entire lifetime against Ohio State. But that wasn't the way it was when I was growing up. Like Michigan used to smack them around. Like David Boston running his mouth, Charles Woodson got smacked by Michigan. But to these young kids, and actually young adults now because they're in their 20s,
all they know is
Ohio State beating the hell out of Michigan. And this Michigan team took it to them in a way I've never seen in that rivalry.
And you sum up the whole season, and this is what drove me nuts. And I don't care. I'll have a go at Michigan fans. Like, stop calling Michigan State little brother. Shut the hell up.
Well,
before the title game. No.
Oh,
Before you won the Big Ten championship, you had just lost. Look, after they lost to Purdue, Michigan State, that the whole big little brother, the whole thing concept. I don't like it. Considering one team has won multiple Big Ten championships and gotten to a college football playoff, and we're still sitting here waiting for Michigan to do that.
Right.
Like, again, banter, rivalry, get it.
But to me, Michigan State, after they beat Michigan, proved that they were that little brother mentality. Like that, like
How so?
The Michigan State Twitter was just like talking so much trash, like they actually won the championship.
Yes.
It was like their whole season was done. They didn't have to do anything else. And what happened the next week? They come out and lay an egg because of that mentality. And to me, it's like, well, then you are little brother, because if that's the only thing that matters to you is beating Michigan, then you're not really keeping your eye on the
Isn't
real
that how Michigan
prize.
feels about Ohio State, right?
Yeah, because Michigan has been Ohio State's little brother the past 20 years.
So here's my problem with it, right? You needed to deliver on the biggest stage, and for Michigan State, they did drop the ball against Purdue, and then they got beat down by Ohio State. But the point was, with Michigan State, it took them 2 years, 2-0 against their arch rival, which is Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed significant improvement. Nobody was talking about Michigan State competing for a Big Ten championship. Now, granted, I could make the same argument for Michigan, but Harbaugh, the aura around him, when was that going to show up? It showed up this year. Thank God, finally. Great to see. Great for college football. But, that again, if you're banter, I get people want to fight on Twitter and just talk. I get it.
You do? Really?
I mean, do I?
do you get that at all? You get any feedback on Twitter?
I mean,
Adam?
no, I'm very nonchalant on Twitter. I don't interact much with people.
Never really rock the boat at all or anything like that.
Never. Me say something on Twitter?
But honestly, like, I thought that was a great win by Michigan State, but the way their fans and the way those diehards were acting afterwards, it was like they've never beat Michigan in their lives. And I was like, come on. Like, you won. Be a man, walk past it, know you won, and then handle business the next week.
I don't mean to change topics. Alabama's closing up.
Yep.
Shop 27-6. I won a lot of money. My wife is not going to divorce me tonight. So we'll start there.
You're actually not changing topics because that's next on our list.
Is it? Awesome.
Betting lines and prop bets of the game today, baby.
All right, listen. Can I just say something?
Hold on, go back to Adam before we get to the betting lines.
Yeah, I really got to get this off my chest. All year, I've been trying to talk to you people, and none of you would listen. How Cincinnati were a goddamn joke. Loa, hear me out. Let me finish. And now listen.
What idiot didn't think they were a joke?
Oh, dude? Neil? D-Mac? That's just on the network. People on ESPN.
It's just on the network.
You got ESPN. You got people in the comment section. People DMing me from the state of Ohio, telling me your hate for Ohio is blinding. Your
Be proud that they at least have cell phone service, though. Dude. Those bumpkins, it's tough to get cell phone service.
You know what? The whole state of Ohio, I'm coming after you guys. I'm not going to let you live this out through. I'm not going to let you live this down. Baker Mayfield, Cincinnati choking. Not only choking, 6 points. That's your football team, the best team in Ohio. Cincinnati fans after the Ohio State game. I'm walking in Ann Arbor, downtown. Cincinnati fans walking around. The best team in Ohio, Cincinnati. Shut the hell up. Ohio State would W 45-6. You freaking losers. Shame on you. Shame on the college football committee. God. But then again, I would have had to see Notre Dame, and I didn't want to see that either. So,
well, let's get into something you love.
All right, let's
gambling.
Absolutely. It's going to cost me my marriage tonight, hopefully.
Betting lines and prop bets for the game today. If you're looking at the betting lines, obviously Georgia's in the SEC, Michigan's in the Big Ten. Yeah, there's
Michigan against the spread, 11-2.
Isn't that crazy?
Extremely interesting.
And look at Georgia against the spread as the favorite.
Oh, it's so telling, isn't it?
Yeah, and
one team playing below their expectations, one team playing above. And I love that number.
And then you're looking at the over.
I took Michigan on the points at 8.5 when it first came out, so I already have that bet locked in. After Michigan State covered last night, took all that money, dumped it on Michigan money line, so I'm all in today.
Yeah, the over-under total, it's kind of a coin flip for these guys. I think that's just because of their dominant defenses.
Yeah.
You know, it's tough to predict what another team is going to do against them.
And they're run-heavy teams, so are you really going to run up the score outside of early on in the year? So mid-season, once you're playing in conference, I don't...
Adam, I told you this before the show, but our own Woodward Bets, Scott Gireisen put $20 on Michigan defense score the first touchdown. Plus
Michigan defense scoring the first touchdown.
Look, I know it's only $20.
Is your mic on, Spence?
Yeah.
All right, good. Just making sure.
Man.
Yeah,
$20 for Michigan to score the first touchdown, defense-wise, or special teams. It's a good bet. It pays out $1,300, doesn't it?
Yep, $20.
It's a good waste of $20 because I don't see that happening. But Scott, if it hits, man, I'll do whatever you want. I'll take you to... let's not go there.
We're going to Sizzler.
Stick, what's interesting about the prop bets up there was 37.7 points per game for Michigan, 38 for Georgia, 9.8 points a game allowed for Georgia, I believe 16 for Michigan. I mean, good defenses, offenses that take advantage of good defensive play.
Right.
I've got, out of everything I saw up there, for me, Michigan on the points and the under just makes so much sense for me tonight.
All right. Well, let's look at Georgia just in general. When you're betting on Georgia and kind of what they bring to the table, Georgia is 3-2 against the spread in the last 5 bowl game appearances. Georgia is 2-3 over in their last 5 bowl appearances. Georgia is 6-4 against the spread in their last 10 appearances, and they're 4-6 over its last 10 bowl appearances. So really, I mean, they're kind of a coin flip when it comes to bowl games with Georgia.
Look, I mean, Kirby Smart has failed to deliver in the biggest moments. And that's been very similar to Jim Harbaugh, right? Outside of actually getting to a title game, which he did this year. But the point is, Kirby Smart has always fallen under the pressure. He's never delivered in the biggest moments. He's always ran through the regular season 10, 11, 12 wins.
I thought when they had Jake Fromm, they were going to do it that year, man.
It's tough for me to... look, I'm from Michigan. I'm riding all in on Michigan tonight. My money speaks for itself. I'm biased. I am all in on Michigan, so I probably won't say a damn good thing about Georgia. But the truth is, why should I be confident in Georgia to deliver this year when they haven't in years past? Just like we talked about Michigan all year. Until you prove it, why should I go all in on you? Georgia needs to prove it, in my opinion.
Right. Well, let's take a look at Michigan now and how they match up when they are in bowl games. Michigan is 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 bowl games. Michigan is 3-1-1 over its last 5 bowl game appearances. And then Michigan is 3-6-1 against the spread in the last 10 bowl game appearances. But they're 6-3-1 overall in those last 10. So you could bet on Michigan to win, but against the spread, probably not so much in the bowl games, man.
I mean, look, their last 4 bowl games under Harbaugh, they've lost. So, I mean, but I don't even consider this a bowl game, to be honest with you. This is a semifinal game to get to the final.
Okay.
I don't consider it like your traditional bowl game.
It is a playoff game, right?
It's a playoff game for me. It's not the Rose Bowl. It's not the Alamo Bowl. It's not the Duke's Mayo Bowl. It's not a bowl game. Dude, I can't believe...
Which, by the way, dude...
I can't believe people.
You had to bring it up, but come on.
This is why 27% of this country is obese. Because we do dumb stuff like this.
They watered down the mayonnaise.
I don't care.
But it's watered down mayonnaise. You imagine that? Like, I would not even want to win that game as a head coach. Like, hell no, guys. You are not putting watered down mayonnaise on me.
I would sit up there in front of the team. Guys, look, I know you want to win this football game. Believe me, there's nobody more competitive than I am in this room.
Right.
Kick rocks if you think I'm sitting there and taking that mayo.
And then they brought him to like a little place and like set him down. Like, where was the jug of mayonnaise out of nowhere just dumping on his ass?
That's what smacked him in the back of the head with it. They didn't even dump it on him.
Yeah, they hit him at first, right? And he did like this tumble, and they were like, "Oh, our bad." And then they gave it.
See,
on.
I got the solution to this. Okay. So, you know, when you go out, you get the squirt bottles of mayonnaise. They should hand those out on the sidelines. And when they win, just like champagne that all over the place.
Just raining mayonnaise everywhere.
Yeah, it would look very subjective and very weird. But at the same time, you're dumping mayonnaise on people. All right, sorry, we digressed too much. You brought up Mayo Bowl, and I had to bring that up.
The Doritos Bowl, the Snickers Bowl, the Chick-fil-A Bowl.
They should just start.
Goddamn country. What are we doing now?
They should just start dumping all of those themes on people. Like if you're at the Exxon Bowl, you get oil dumped on you. Like that
I mean, that I'm for. That kind of makes sense.
that kind of makes sense. Chick-fil-A, give me that Polynesian sauce, baby. Oh yeah, I want it all.
Look, man. We're hours away from 2022. There's all these fake people that think they're gonna start going to the gym on Monday. Everyone's gonna show up for a week and then stop going. This is the problem. This is why. Because we support the Chick-fil-A Bowl, the Duke's Mayo Bowl, the McDonald's. I don't know what the hell these bowl games are anymore.
I just want like a Bob Evans bowl where they're pulling gravy on people and like people are throwing biscuits from the stands. Oh man, we could have so much fun with this if we actually embrace it, America. Let's do it. We're fat. We know it. Let's go. Let's get into some prop bets.
Okay.
Bryce Young, the prop bet on. Wait, that's not the game we're talking about. My bad. Let's go. Cade McNamara for passing yards. The over-under for him is 182.5. Are you taking the over or are you taking the under?
Taking the under.
Under.
I'm taking
182?
Yeah, I know it's a friendly number when just because you're betting every week in the NFL and back and forth in college.
At 182 seems like nothing.
I got the under in this game.
Okay.
Time of possession's a big deal for me today. I feel like both teams are going 30, 35 rushes minimum.
Okay.
So I don't see the quarterbacks getting an opportunity. If they hit a few big plays, even then I'm not confident that he's going to go for over 182. You're going to talk about Cade McNamara. If he's going to drop back 25 times, likely in 1st and 10 or 3rd and 6, 3rd and 4 scenarios. So I don't see any yards where he's going to pick up where it's going to be significant. He can throw 10 yards per attempt. But if he only completes 17 passes, he's going to be under. So that's the tricky part for me. 182, I got to go under.
All right, let's go to the running backs. Over 62.5 yards for Hassan Haskins.
Over.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, look, as much as I respect both defensive fronts, especially Georgia's, I think both teams are eventually going to have somewhat of their own way. And I think both teams are going to be able to eclipse 100 yards on the ground. I mean, they're going to be, again, I really believe both teams are going to rush the ball over 30 times. And when you do that, I mean, you can't average even if you average 3 yards a carry, you're going to be close to 100 yards for the game.
Well, and you saw it. Michigan's averaging like 5 yards a carry in their offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had that graphic up earlier where they both offensive lines give that push to where their running backs get that 3 yards before they're even touched. Stick it on running backs, though. Blake Corum, 38.5 yards. To me, this is a simple over, right? Like, that's one play for Blake Corum.
Yes, basically. I hope the ankle's good. We saw the video earlier against Ohio State. Got chased down. Any other day, it's
He's had 4 weeks to rest.
Yeah, but look, man, ankle injuries are the most unpredictable things ever. You could be right for 5, 10, 15, 20 days at a time. Doesn't matter. It takes one tweak, one turn, and it's re-aggravated, and you lose all your speed and all your confidence, really. So, look, I'm going to take the over on it, though.
Okay. Let's flip over to Georgia's running back, Zamir White, 53.5 yards, over under.
Over. I think all the backs are going to get theirs today. I'm going over on all the backs, for sure.
Yeah, they got James Cook at 47.5.
That's a reach.
Yeah, to me, that's weird. Like, I would take
that committee is not 50-50.
Right.
And if it is tonight, maybe you get away with that. I'm taking the feature back over. I'll take the second back under.
It's so funny. What I'm reading on this website, I just scrolled down, and what does it say? Blake Corum just needs one play to get over that rushing total. And I'm like, I didn't steal it from the website, I swear. That's part of our conversation. Let's go to wide receivers and tight ends. Brock Bowers is the lead wide receiver. They think he's going to have 49.5 yards.
God, talk about lock of the night.
Over?
Way over. I would make a prop bet for plus 100.
Oh, wow.
I just don't see how you stop him. I really don't. And I hope they do. But for me, 49.5, such a friendly bet. I would take it in a heartbeat.
Eric All, the tight end.
That's tricky.
24.5 yards.
Ooh. See, they put it at such the right number. Because Eric All only has 324 yards on the year. It's not like he's some explosive tight end. It was just, you remember him at Penn State, big touchdown catch, and then you forget about him.
Oh, and he's a hell of a blocker.
Absolutely. Under? Yeah. I don't have the confidence. I mean, you're talking, 3 receptions, 18, 21 yards I see tonight. Is he going to make a big play against Georgia? Is Cade going to throw? It's all underneath routes. Is he going to be able to escape? This is an SEC team. He's not going to be fast. This isn't Penn State. This is Georgia. Is he going to be able to burst and run to the sideline and get 10, 15 yards after the catch? I don't think so.
We were talking about Michigan scoring the first touchdown on defense and the betting line on that. Hassan Haskins scoring the first touchdown, plus 650. Anytime touchdown, minus 120.
I'll take the anytime. I don't like the first touchdown because, to be honest with you, I don't even believe there may be a touchdown in the first half.
Really? You
Yeah,
think we're
man.
going to go to halftime 0-0
It's gonna be
on
an ugly
this?
game. A 6-3, 9-6. It's going to be bad. It really is. Could be a special teams touchdown. Who knows? I just see both teams really struggling in the first half to get anything going.
Zamir White as the first touchdown scorer, plus 650. As an anytime scorer, minus 115.
I guess you could take the chance.
I think you do.
Yeah.
On the
first-
anytime?
Yeah.
For sure.
It's a good line.
Let's see what the largest line is for this. Michigan defense, plus 3,900 to score first.
Yeah, look, I mean, I know Scott took that, so it's not a bad bet. You put in 10, 15 bucks, it pays out big. So if you got spare change laying around and you don't want to go eat McDonald's, which I don't recommend for you because it's not healthy, but you should do that.
Let's put a lot of mayonnaise on that. Yeah, so a lot of fun prop bets and stuff like that. I honestly, breaking down this game, these two teams are so evenly matched up. They have their specialties, but in the end of the day, they balance each other out. I've had a rough time going back and forth deciding who I'm going to pick, what the final score is going to be. It's just been, I like this matchup, and I like that they got this matchup over getting the Alabama matchup.
Yeah, look, I don't think they were ever going to be paired with Alabama. And even if they got Cincinnati, I think they would have been just fine.
Oh, God. If they got Cincinnati, it's a bye week.
But the Georgia matchup, I think, was befitting of the season. You finally win the Big Ten title. Everybody's doubting you. No chance you're going to beat the SEC team, are you? No chance. No chance. I love Michigan tonight. I really do.
Imagine if they beat two SEC teams to win the national championship.
Look, if they win the national championship, I mean, you're talking about one of the most historic accomplishments in the program's history, let alone college football. I mean, no one's unranked to go and win the national championship. Who's done that?
No one.
I mean, we're talking different levels of history. If they just get to the championship game, I think that alone is a program booster. They beat Alabama? Oh, man. Stick, we're talking, I mean, Ohio State falls so far down the food chain.
So where does that put Jim Harbaugh, in your opinion, too, if that happens? I mean, if he secures a national championship by beating two SEC teams on his way to do it well,
Michigan fans cover your ears.
Curb-stomping Ohio State, beating Penn State, but losing to Michigan State.
Michigan fans cover your ears, especially the ones over 50.
Uh-oh.
Harbaugh delivers a natty in this format. Greatest Michigan coach ever.
Better than Bo.
Better than Bo, better than all of them. And it's not even
better than
close.
Yost.
Better than every single one of them before him. And if he sticks around for another 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 years and he has like longevity, I don't even think it's an argument. But I'm willing to say right after that game, absolutely.
I mean, he'd have everything that all the other coaches had, right? You know, nobody's won multiple national titles. So, and, you know, the 97 title was a split title with Tennessee. If you go down in Tennessee and say Michigan won the title in 97.
And you go down to Bo, all those Rose Bowl losses, do I have to bring that up? Like, this is why I have beef with Michigan fans. Like, they think they're here, which is not where
they are right now, and they should be right now.
And they should be right now.
Yeah, right. Right now, if you're a Michigan fan, you're painting your face, you're getting ready, like, you're owning this moment. You should be.
Absolutely. And now you have an opportunity to actually get to this level.
Right.
And if Harbaugh does it, I'm sorry. For me, greatest coach in Michigan history.
I would put him up there too, man, especially from where he took over the program too. Because it's not like he, you know, took Lloyd Carr's guys and kept that momentum going, which, by the way, I thought they should have hired Ron English right after Lloyd Carr, but they didn't. We can move on and talk about that another day. But he came into a program that was broken, and he's restored it to where it is right now. Did anybody predict this coming into this year? Hell no. Not even the college football predicted this. They didn't even have him in the top 25. But here they are. Michigan is back for all intents and purposes and for any argument's sake. 27 minutes till game time. They're showing Stetson Bennett warming up right now. But for Michigan, this is your moment. You must own it. And if you win this game, I am so excited for what it's going to be for not only Southeast Michigan, but the entire state. Like, these are great moments to embrace as an entire state. So root for Michigan. Terry Foster had a great tweet about this morning. He said, I'm a state of Michigan fan. Like, I root for everybody in this state to win.
Yeah, I loved what he said earlier on in the morning show today. Michigan State fans like freak the hell out. I'm not to this moment. I'm still not sure why, and they're still messaging me about it. But like, State fans, you should be rooting for Michigan tonight.
I gotta disagree with you, man.
I'm gonna tell you why, man. I'm gonna tell you why. Not only does it have recruiting implications long term, because who owns Georgia right now? Georgia does, obviously. Georgia loses to Michigan. Mel Tucker already has deep ties in Georgia. Look, I'm not saying they leapfrog everybody in 1 year. It's a long-term play. Look at it big picture. Yes, Michigan gets theirs this year. But damn it, you potentially could get yours in 2, 3, 4 years down the line, and you can be in this exact same position. Kirby Smart, is he going to fry out at Georgia? Always losing the big games? What are they going to have to go through in a few years? Look, I'm telling you, Michigan State fans, just open up. I know you hate Michigan. I totally get it. But damn it, for one night, big picture win.
I don't see how Michigan winning will ever help Michigan State recruiting.
It helps the Big Ten in recruiting.
I don't see. It helps the Big Ten. Yeah, the Big Ten, but not directly Michigan State. I mean, if anything, it helps Michigan walk into any room that Michigan State's walking in and being like, bro, we were just in the college football playoffs. We won. Michigan State's never been able to do that. Like, I don't see.
Short-term,
if I'm a Michigan State fan, I'm rooting for Michigan just out of love for the state, but I'm not rooting for them because it's going to help my program. It's not going to help the program.
I disagree. I
know you do, and when I saw your clip today, I was like, this guy's on crack.
No, man. I'm telling you, long term, if you guys just take out the bias of being a State or Michigan fan, like, really look at this. When Ohio State is going to the national championship game every other year, and they're in the college football playoff every year, you know what that does? That makes your win against that team that much better. If Michigan gets to the national title game, Michigan State, you're the only team that beat them this year.
But what is that? What the hell does that mean? Hey, we beat a team that was good.
No,
like I don't see how that. Like, I don't see Mel Tucker pulling that card out. Like, the team that won the national championship, we beat them.
No, nobody does that. That's not the point. The long-term value in the state of Georgia. That's what we're talking about. Mel Tucker, who already has ties, he got 6 players already to commit from Georgia. His first time around. He's already doing it again this year on the trail. It helps him. It really does. He's deeply tied in the South. Mel Tucker, in my opinion, he wins if Michigan wins. I'm sorry. I really see it. I know a lot of people won't. I know you don't. All the Michigan State fans are probably pulling their hair out of their head right now. But I'm sorry. I look at these things, and I see it differently. I really do.
You totally do, because I don't see how your rival winning will ever help you recruiting-wise, but I do see how it helps the Big Ten. So in the massive theory of it all...
Well, I'm going macro. I'm not talking about just this year. 2-3 years from now, Kirby Smart could be out of Georgia. Michigan coming off... Do Michigan set Georgia on a regressive scale? And does Mel Tucker swoop in down south and own the recruiting there? Michigan's not owning the recruiting in the South.
If they whoop the hell out of the SEC twice, we better be, because that's when you roll in and like, listen, I know your whole life they told you the SEC special, that we're the only programs that can pump out pros, that we're the best, and everybody else should be in a whole different category. And if Michigan could come in and smack 2 SEC teams,
what does Michigan have that Michigan State doesn't have? Brand.
Yes.
What is Michigan State trying to do? They're trying to build a tier, top-level brand.
Tuck's doing a great job with it, too.
Takes time.
Yep.
Takes winning. You got to win big games. Tucker 2-0 against Michigan so far. I'm sorry. I know you guys think it's a reach. I know you guys think I'm out of my mind.
I do.
But I'm telling you guys, I am hoping Michigan wins tonight. And then you guys can talk to me in 2-3 years when you see the fruits of the labor in recruiting for Mel Tucker and Michigan State.
Well, I mean, we're about 13 minutes away.
Yep.
From 23 minutes away from kickoff. There's Jim Harbaugh with his gloves on, warming up as a wide receiver. This is why I love that man. Like the guy breathes football. Whether you like him or hate him, that is a football guy through and through.
And Aidan Hutchinson, to me, is a guy you build your franchise around.
Oh, okay.
Character-wise.
So you want to get into that topic for like 5 minutes, because I want to get into our score predictions. But Aidan Hutchinson coming out, potential number 1 pick. Lions probably locked into that number 2 pick, right, at this point. Yep. So if Thibodeau goes number 1, we're popping bottles if we get Aidan Hutchinson, right?
So this is the thing I've been talking about a lot. Jacksonville, they're not taking an edge rusher. If I'm them, I'm taking Neal from Alabama, the tackle. I'm protecting Trevor Lawrence, who's one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL this year. I'm protecting my franchise asset. And even if the Lions pick at 3, you have your choice of Thibodeau or Hutchinson, whoever falls. So even if the Lions win one more game and fall to 3, it's not the end of the world.
You hear that, Neil Rule? We can still lose games, and it will be fine. Neil hates the fact that we're dropping down the draft board.
I talked to Neil about it. I tried convincing him a little bit. Like, the win against Minnesota, whether you guys like it or not, I didn't see, on the field value. Arizona, that was a win. That was an identity win, man.
Felt good.
I could see 2-3 years from now you playing football that way and winning meaningful games. That's what I saw. I didn't see that against Minnesota.
Right.
So, sorry, I am going to be extremely excited and very praise and give a lot of praise towards that win against Arizona. I think it was that big of a deal.
Let's everybody in the chat right now too on YouTube, and if you're watching us on Twitter or Twitch, why don't you drop your final score predictions in there, because that's what we're about to get into right now, and just tell us what you think the outcome of the game is going to be. I know what I think it's going to be. Braylon said 30-14, and when I was talking to Braylon yesterday too, he thinks this could even be a bigger blowout. He said that Michigan could win by 30 points if things start rolling the right way. I don't see it getting that out of control. I see Georgia doing what they've done all season, keeping games close, and I see this being a win for Michigan, 24-14 though.
I got 20-16 Michigan.
So we're not far off.
Yeah, no, we're not far off. I think the under's the play tonight, guys. I really do. I don't see these teams being able to hit the home run balls on each other. I think they're just going to be so stubborn to the point where, yeah, man, it could be even less than that. 17-14. 14-13, a missed extra point cost the team a game. I'm not joking. I really believe this is going to be probably one of the uglier games you're going to watch. But sometimes ugly is the prettiest thing.
And that's what I'm looking forward to tonight. No matter what happens, this is going to be man football. Mm-hmm. These are going to be big boys punching each other in the mouth for the entire game. It's going to be physical. There's going to be running backs running through people, safeties coming down, blowing up people, the lines going against each other. This is it to me. You know, the game we watched earlier with Alabama and Cincinnati, that wasn't hard hitting. There was very little intensity. It was, you knew what the hell was going to happen. This game, if Michigan comes in and plays like they did against Ohio State, plays like they did in the Big Ten championship game, I don't see any team on the planet that can mess with these boys. Because the way I saw them come out and play against Ohio State, I have never seen a Michigan team on tilt like that. But so focused as well. And I'll go back to one play in that Ohio State game that showed me that not only is this team a bunch of badasses, but they're also very smart and they're very well coached. The Ohio State kid rips off the helmet in the end zone of the Michigan kid, and what happens? 2 Michigan linemen go to the Ohio State guy and just escort him off the field like a bouncer. Not grabbing his face mask, not punching, not doing dumb stuff to get that penalty to make it an offsetting penalty, and then Michigan wouldn't have stayed where they were in the red zone. They just walked his ass to the sideline, and the guy could do nothing because he's little and there's 700 pounds of beef walking your ass out there. But it showed me that those guys are in it to win. They're there to protect their teammate, but they're not there to do dumb stuff to hurt the team. And that's, to me, the biggest turning point I saw in Michigan this season.
Yeah, look, Michigan had so many moments this year where whenever that doubt started to creep in from the past, they answered right away. They silenced it. They never let it get the best of them. I don't see it getting the best of them tonight. I got Michigan 20-16. Michigan getting to their first national championship game in this college football playoff format. It's going to be huge, man. It's a big deal. I can't wait. And I pray to God they win, because I am screwed if they don't. I am in deep trouble.
In the chat, Ghostface thinks 31-30 Georgia. I can't see it being that high scoring.
Points.
Yeah,
way too many points for me. I just think these teams are going to run the ball so much. Unless they're running it to the house multiple occasions, I don't see them putting up each more than 24 points. Impossible.
Then we got Michigan 24-17. FT Crew said that. Turkish Jade said 24-17 Michigan.
Don't mind that.
Michigan 27, Georgia 21. That's kind of in line with what we're picking. Dabber, my boy Dabber, 31-27 Michigan.
Too many points, man.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And Walter Briggs, 32-28. So, a lot of people thinking this is going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, I don't see it. I really don't, and my money doesn't see it either. Sorry, guys. I can't bet against my own money.
Scared money don't make money, though.
Oh, I made too much money tonight. I am. This is the most I've ever bet on a game.
How are you feeling about this game?
Nervous.
Like, are you nervous? Because I got people in the chat saying they got sweaty palms and stuff like that.
One, I'm extremely excited. I get to watch Michigan in a college football playoff game. I mean, that is amazing. Anytime a team from Michigan is doing well and excelling, that just brings me so much joy. Having said that, I've got way too much money on the line tonight. I am not responsible. I don't care. I'll tell you the truth. I won't lie to your face. I'm a very irresponsible human being when it comes to sports betting. And tonight, I've got way too much money on Michigan. But too late. I'm all in.
Spence, who do you got tonight, man? Because I know you're a Michigan State fan, but do you see Michigan winning this game?
Yeah. I see Michigan probably 17-10. I can see Michigan taking
everyone's
this game.
going low scores.
Yeah. I just, like you said, they're going to run the ball. It's two great defenses. I can't really see them scoring in the 30s at all.
Right. Adam, you don't have, I don't think your mic's on, but what do you think? Are you going to turn his mic on real quick? We have a special in-studio guest. His name is Adam. He's been a big supporter of the Woodward Sports Network since we got started. And, I've been out to some events with you. You're rocking the Woodward Sports polo today. But what do you think, man? I want to include you in this because you wanted to show up and watch the pregame show with us. So what you thinking, buddy?
It's going to be close. I'm going to call it close. Like I said, if Michigan can somehow get through Georgia's defense, I think Michigan has a chance, and I'm looking at probably Michigan 27, Georgia 17.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I like it.
Points. Wow.
I like it. Shout out to Adam Morrissey. You'll see him in the chats. You're in the chat all the time. And it's cool to bring these people in the studio and just have them a part of the family because that's what we try to do here at Woodward Sports, just a big family. And I think tonight everybody's going to be on the edge of their seat. I mean, it's New Year's Eve. Normally I'm like, all right, what club am I going to go to? How many bottles do I have ordered?
Watching football, man.
But tonight it's different. I'm going to go home. I'm going to watch football and hopefully the game ends before midnight so I can maybe go out and do something. But if it doesn't, if it goes to overtime and we're in 6 overtimes at midnight when the ball drops, I'll be happy as hell.
I'm either going to start the new year significantly wealthier or significantly poorer. A lot of pressure tonight. Or I might be single.
You brought that up several times. How much do you have on this game? How much do you have on the game?
7,300.
7,300. Just in one bet, or is it spread across other bets?
2,400 on the points. And the remaining 49 on Michigan money line.
Michigan money line.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. My wife does not like that.
Why does she not like that? She's seen your history. She knows that you're an intelligent gambler. You don't need to call the hotline. You may call the divorce hotline.
I mean, I've never put this kind of money up, so it's a lot tonight. It's a lot.
See,
the most she's ever witnessed was Michigan State, which was an $1,900 bet almost.
So you said you're nervous going in the game. Is it nervous because you want Michigan to win, or nervous because of the money? Okay,
nervous because of my wife.
See, it's so crazy.
She's gonna claw my eyes out.
I get so excited for these games. Like I feel like you do, and I don't even have $7,300 at risk. The Michigan Ohio State game was the first time in a long time I found myself like standing up, like into the game, wanting Michigan to win at all costs. I haven't felt that for this program in a long time.
Yeah, I haven't felt this attached to the program either, but that's what happens when you put money on the line. So.
Does she watch the show at all?
Yeah, she's mad at me.
She's mad at you?
Yeah, she witnessed me running around the house almost naked last night because Michigan State covered with the late pick six. So she saw she's seen the ups and downs all year.
Oh, God.
She's seen my big wins, but I kind of I took everything that was in that count. I just went all in on Michigan.
Adam, you got to buy a Kel Halliday jersey with all those winnings.
If I win tonight, I'll do it. If not, I can't even afford lunch.
Good teams win, great teams cover, and Michigan's going to do both tonight.
I hope so.
Well, thank you guys for watching the pregame show. We're about 10 minutes away from kickoff. We're going to be here hanging out. It's the Woodward Sports Network. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow us, do all that stuff. And Happy New Year's to you, or New Year. I hate when people say New Year's. Happy New Year.
I never understood that.
Yeah, Happy New Year
We're just
to
an
you.
illiterate country.
Do you have any resolutions, Adam?
I don't.
Gamble less, maybe?
No.
If you lose?
I don't do the resolution thing.
Yeah, I don't
I'm not
either.
a fan of it. I think, I am who I am, going into next year, if I can fix any small bad habits I have, that's going to make me a better person, which is going to make everyone around me better.
And I gotta give a shout out to everybody that's complimented my outfit.
Dude,
tonight.
you look snazzy.
If
I was
like normally I'm in a hoodie,
gender,
yeah,
I'd be going home with you tonight.
Hey, you may still. You may be
forgot
out of
the
a house,
shoulder
so
pads,
come on
so-
over, big boy. But people are asking how many collars I have on. This is all one shirt. It's all one shirt. I bought this when I was in Italy.
Ooh.
And I was like, you know what? I'm in Italy. I'm going to buy some nice clothes. This was 4 years ago, and I've worn this like twice.
And it still fits.
Well, I'm a little skinnier than I was.
Okay.
But, yeah.
But it's a good fit.
Yeah, it's a nice fit. I feel good. People complimenting me. Thank you very much. Michigan's going to get the W. That's why I wore it. I was like, I got a blue blazer. I got a yellow tie.
I hope all of you are right on this.
Let's go blue, man. Go blue. Have a great game. Have a great night. Have a safe and happy new year. We will be back. Adam will be back Monday morning talking about everything that happened over the weekend. And if you want to join us this Sunday for the Lions pre and post game, pregame is going to be at O'Toole's in Royal Oak. Post game, as always, the Brass Rail downtown, Woodward and Adams. I'm going to be there with my boy Anson. It's going to be fun. So why don't you come on down, hang out, have some beer and some pizza. I'll buy it. How about that? Go blue. Let's have a good game, Adam.
Oh,
Get your
man.
money, baby.
I hope so. Guys, enjoy. Thank you so much for supporting the network over 2021. We all appreciate it dearly.
Did you want to have a little retrospective on that real quick?
Yeah, I mean, what? You want to point back to this part last year? Sean Belizean and Joy Bell just started their show.
Yep.
We didn't even have like 1,000 followers. I think at the time, maybe 2,000. Look, 2021 has been a blessing for everyone here. New people like Spencer, Sawyer, Alex Mustfall, Alex Mayer, Justin Sladdick. So many people joined the team. Sam Fisher, I'm sure you guys all know.
Everybody knows Fish. Sam
guys,
Reynolds now.
There's so many people that are working in their passion field because of people like Adam and everyone in the chat right now. So thank you guys so much.
Yep.
We deeply, deeply appreciate it. I don't think anyone could have predicted, where we would be at this point.
No, it's only been 1 year, and we're ready to go in 2022. I promise you that we are going to deliver Detroit exactly what it deserves in its sports coverage because the city is special, our sports are special, and we want to give it to you like Detroiters. So thank you guys so much. Like I said, have a great and happy new year. Go Blue. Kick the hell out of Georgia. Do it, Jim Harbaugh.